uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Sador, let me go ahead and get you out of here. We got another call here. I don't know who this is, but thanks a lot for the call on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, all right?
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
All right. I don't know who this is. Welcome to the evolution. Your name and where you calling from? Okay.
That was that bill collector. That was the guy trying to give you your Rolex.
Right. That's not who it was at all. You idiot. We're on the Sports Web live on NSPN. I love St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Harry the Greek, 1252 Chicago Sports. He's calling in again. So
let me give it a shot for you.
Yes, go ahead. Welcome to the Sports Web.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Welcome to the Sports Web.
How's it going?
How are you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Marcos calling from Miami.
Okay, Marcos, what do you have to say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or do you want to talk about something else?
I was looking for something else.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
Thanks for calling the 1-900 number. My name is Harry. How are you?
Would you shut up and be quiet? Shut up! You're calling it Sports Talk Show. You know that, right? So what do you want to talk about, Marcos?
I was looking to call out Peter.
This is Peter.
Marcos, Jake Paul's assistant.
Oh, are you serious?
Told you.
Wait, is this live right now?
This is live right now. This is crazy. This is
crazy.
crazy. Yes, it is.
Told you.
Wow. Okay,
Sorry.
so let welcome to the evolution. I swear to God, we did not plan this, but of course the story was about the Rolex situation. Jake Paul, I interviewed him, asked him a question about Rolexes being given to fighters, and he said, "You know what? Do you want one?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." Not thinking he was going to do that. So
that's crazy. I just got your contact from Nikisa, Jake's manager.
Okay.
I wanted to follow up. So we have Rolex ready to go, and I was calling you to contact you what the best shipping address was. So whenever you get the chance.
I'll tell you what, Peter, why don't you go ahead and take that, make me full screen, pull yourself out. I'll go ahead and talk to the audience. It'll take you less than a minute. And I think that's awesome.
I think it is awesome too. Thank you very much. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television on this happy hump day edition. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here live on the Sports Web. How do we start off this show? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, of course, we will have none other than Miss KNN herself of Fox Sports Radio, Kelsey Nicole Nelson, joining us talking about what else? Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, where could he go around the NFL? Of course, playoffs are still going on, but of course, the Bucs are not involved with it. Sorry to burst your bubble. At 9:20, we'll have Mitchell Renz of the Raiders Report and Chat Sports also talking about Tom Brady and where he could go and around the NFL. What happened with the Raiders? Derek Carr, is that a possibility for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? At 10 o'clock, we will have J.C. Allen calling in of the Pewter Report, giving us the latest situation on Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, what the Bucs could do in the offseason. And then, of course, at 10:20, Turnbuckle Talk with former XPW announcer Mr. Mark Mancini and the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. And, of course, your phone calls, as always, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Also, a new number, 727-409-7528. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get my co-host on. Here we go. Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. And let's go out to our guest. Welcome, Harry, by the way. How you doing tonight?
Peter, I'm doing absolutely super fantastic, as we like to say at work. Super fantastic.
Are you excited?
I am so excited. Hey, I'm really excited to have this guest on tonight. I can't wait to ask her some questions. This is awesome.
She's beautiful. She's talented. She's one of my favorite sports broadcasters out there. Miss Kelsey Nicole Nelson, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television of Fox Sports.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here. I guess I need to keep in fashion and say I'm super fantastic.
Super. It's super fantastic.
Super fantastic to be here on a hump day. So thank you, fellas, for having me.
Absolutely. And let's talk about it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall on Monday night in disappointing fashion on Monday night wild card weekend, I guess, 31-14. Let's get your thoughts on this, and then we'll get out to Harry.
Yeah, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and let me just put out there, if you looked at my picks before the game, I actually did pick the Dallas Cowboys to beat them. Why? Because Tom Brady has not been the same Tom Brady, the consistent Tom Brady that we've known him to be this season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's looked human this season, and I think he looked human in that football game, obviously dealing with things both on and off the football field. And that was just a game. I feel like Tom Brady just looked like he didn't want to be hit. He was frustrated with the team, and it was just really a series of unfortunate events as the team just spiraled downward. Oh, and it doesn't help, by the way, that you gave Dak Prescott one of the best games of his career, and what a bounce back he had after actually playing very badly here in Washington. I said that to say I think the Bucs just looked all types out of sorts. I know that must have been a hard game to watch for Bucs fans. They did everything wrong, and the Cowboys honestly did everything right, and that's why the Cowboys are advancing in true fashion and style, and honestly feeling like they truly believe in themselves. We haven't seen Cowboys fans this happy, Peter, in a long time. They're used to being, in and out. But all of a sudden, you all gave them some hope. So, I feel bad for the Bucs. I think they're obviously going to have to do some type of rebuilding. Tom just doesn't look happy there. If I'm a Tampa fan, I'm looking at the future, and I'm honestly not expecting Tom to be there in the future. But I will say the game also gave Washington some eyes. Byron Leftwich, some eyes on him over here in DC, as some people are saying, "Come on home, Byron. Come on home." Ouch!
I'll tell you what. I'm going to get back to that in a moment. Harry, your thoughts about it, because I'm going to throw this out there, and I know you love this statistic. 66 times Tom Brady threw the ball in this game, and they only ran it 12 times. Could that be the reason why they lost to the Cowboys on Monday night, Harry the Greek?
Peter, look, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, okay? I mean, everybody knows I'm going to beat it. Are you kidding me? You can't be 46 years old or 45. Throw the ball 50-plus times a game and expect to win. What did anybody else out there really, truly expect? I understand because you had Tom Brady under center. But Kelsey said it best. He hasn't looked the same. This team looked like an 8-win team. Let me go ahead and say it again. You can't expect anything different from a team that limped into the playoffs, one game under 500, going up against an offensive juggernaut that the Dallas Cowboys are. However, with that being said, everybody was trying to make a big deal of that game when they went to Washington. It looked like they laid an egg. Guys, did you ever hear of the terminology called playing possum? That's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys did in that game. Sorry
Yep.
to say it, Tampa fans. That's why I didn't give that professional pick out. I knew what was coming. You knew what was coming. No
Yeah.
one wanted to admit it. That's the problem. And
Yeah.
Kelsey, I want to hear something from you. In the preseason,
Right.
forget about the rash of injuries that this Tampa Bay offense has had, especially on the offensive line. But who was the leader in that locker room? You'd have to say Tom Brady, correct?
Right. I think that's what most people would say, right? I mean, you have Tom on your team. That's you don't want Tom just on your team because of his football play. You want him because Tom is a no nonsense type of guy, right? He's always going to expect greatness out of everyone. And anybody who's played with Tom will tell you that because he has one thing on his mind, and that's adding another ring to that finger. So I definitely think people would say Tom is that, undeniable leader.
And I'm glad you said that. So what business, if you were in the management of this Tampa Bay organization or even his teammates, to take 2 weeks off during the preseason? Okay, first
Right.
and foremost.
Right.
How about the game before you're supposed to go do a walkthrough? I think it was Pittsburgh or Cleveland. He decided to fly out to New England to go hang out with his old boss, with Robert Kraft. What kind of message are you sending to
Yeah.
your players? What kind of message are you sending not only to the players in the organization, but how about the fans?
Right.
Are you bigger than the game? You see it, everybody says, oh, I'm just a Tom Brady hater, or I'm the guy that's trying to rip this team apart. No, I'm a realist. I'm a guy that played the
Right.
game. If you're on the team, you're part of the team. What are your thoughts? That's what I'd
Mhm.
love to hear from you. An
Yeah.
outsider looking in.
Yeah, I love that you brought this up because I honestly felt like media didn't dig into this enough. As you said, Tom is always a guy that's been credited for being there early, being the guy that sets the example. And as you said, this year just started uncharacteristic for Tom. Like you said, we really didn't understand why he was having these absences. The team kind of gave us these ambiguous excuses for Tom Brady not being there. And because he's Tom Brady, nobody really dug into it. Oh, it's just Tom. He'll be fine. But as you said, and then, he really wasn't the leader that we've known him to be. Like you said, going to party, with Robert Kraft and company, like this isn't the Tom Brady we've known. And we've seen him be so serious. Maybe the goofiest we've seen Tom Brady was back when they were on the boat. And, then the trophy fell, right?
Yeah.
Like that, that wasn't even Tom when you think about it. So I say all that to say, like when he was drunk, we were making fun of that, but it's because we hadn't seen Tom like that. And of course, this is after the win. But I say all this to say Tom Brady right now, this season, we all know, and it's unfortunate. I hate to see anybody's family life, be exposed or put out there, and you hate to see families being broken apart. But don't think that didn't have some type of effect or impact on him. And Tom has been so great. Why? Because his head has always been in the football game. But all of a sudden, this season, again, it just seemed like it just wasn't there. And it seemed like to me, Tom, usually a guy who takes a lot of credit for when things go bad, saying it seemed like he also started to kind of blame his teammates, and really took away the kind of team aspect, and saying that, it wasn't just him, it was everybody. But I think Tom needs to take more responsibility. But it started bad this season again when the team allowed him to do whatever he was doing. And then, now again, expecting him to step up big in a playoff game that now we just saw again, Tom Brady just not look good in bad passes, just there was no complete leadership. But I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't think enough media dug into that. And I feel like Tom just kind of got to push away on that.
And I got called and labeled the hater. Oh my God, you're this.
Well,
Look, I am not a reporter. Okay, I run a show. I'm a professional handicapper. I've been handicapping football games for years and years and years. I do a lot of tape, and I call it like I see it. But I do have one last question for you regarding this, and I'm not being a smartass when I say that. Pardon my French. But how much of an effect do you think Giselle had on his performance this year?
Great
Yeah,
question.
Yeah, this one's tough. Anybody, what is it? Happy wife, happy life. When the wife isn't happy, it's going to be hard for that life to continue on. And, again, when you're having issues at home, when your supermodel wife is telling you, Tom, please stay home with me and the kids, and you have that dilemma in your head, and, you're going from playing football, but you go back to being home and you're probably having nagging and arguments, that does weigh in on you. Look, I'm a broadcaster and I have to make sure that I keep my whole life in order because when I'm having a bad day, I don't want it to be presented onto the people that are watching me or listening to me. And believe me, folks can tell when there's a difference. And obviously we saw it with Tom. Tom is usually an upkept guy. Even sometimes this season, his hair is out of place and different things. Like it just wasn't the Tom Brady that we knew. And again, you could tell just things were going on. He was frustrated and he tried to leave it there. He had press conferences that were uncharacteristic Tom. Usually he's so polished and so, pristine. There's a reason why we call him, the all American guy because he just seems like he's like this perfect guy. But I think all of a sudden we realize Tom is human this season. He does have problems at home. And so I think right now, if I'm Tom Brady, I'm just reevaluating things and seeing if football really is where my heart is and where my head is and if I can continue on. He's older now. Everybody out there, when you get older, things change, right? You put things into perspective. You look at things differently. And now, football is a sport where you have to be a man amongst men, especially at the quarterback position. But again, it's hard to do that when everything is wrong every
Preach
time
on,
you
Kelsey.
go home.
Preach
So
on.
just have to
Preach
say it,
on.
fellas.
Is
Keep
she
the
not?
wife happy.
Preach on.
And
Keep
listen,
going. Get that full screen on her because I could listen to you all
well,
day
here's the
long.
thing. The last time we talked about this KNN, and we're on with Kelsey Nicole Nelson of Fox Sports there in the DMV. Of course, we got Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about here on a happy hump day edition of the Sports Web. We talked about this the last show you were on. Happy wife, happy life, whatever you got to do, massage the feet, take her out. And
Massage the
flowers.
feet. Oh my God. You can't say massage, okay, Pete?
well, listen,
That's just not
you
correct. That's very
stay-
Deshaun Watson
you
like,
stay
okay?
away from that right now.
Look, we're staying away from Deshaun.
Yes, stay
No
away.
Deshaun.
You
baby.
stay away from Deshaun. I got no problem staying away from him.
With that being said, that
Are
definitely
you sure?
will you shut up? I think it had an effect. I'll tell you right now, what I'm going to do is put you both in the lobby. I want to hear from Tom Brady and his comments, and you judge if he's not only done with the Bucs, but possibly retired. Stand by here. Let me put you both in the lobby. Here's Tom Brady after the disappointing effort versus the Dallas Cowboys here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
It just feels like the end of the season. So I just want to say thank you guys for everything this year. I really appreciate all your effort. And I know it's hard for you guys too. It's hard for us players to make it through. And you guys got a tough job. And I appreciate all that you guys do to cover us and everyone who watches and is a big fan of the sport. We're very grateful for everyone's support. And, hopefully, I love this organization. It's a great place to be. And thank you, everybody, for welcoming me, all you regulars. And just very grateful for the respect. And I hope I gave the same thing back to you guys. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, welcome back to the Evolution. Let's come back here. And already people are fans of KNN. Of course you're fans. She's great. That's why she's my favorite.
Oh, thank you.
Harry. But Kelsey, let me come out to you first. I mean, does that sound like a man that's going to play in a National Football League next year, his 21st season? Or does that sound like somebody that basically is walking off into the sunset or done with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because all the rumors have been swirling around about him going to the Raiders, the Jets, the Dolphins, the 49ers?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you see this playing out from those comments alone?
Yeah, I think when you really listen to it, if you've ever been emotional and you've been trying to hold something back, you can kind of hear the knot in his throat. You can tell, again, he's really emotional, obviously didn't like how things ended. But, happy sunset. I think Tom Brady's not at that point in his life yet. I go back to the quote this season, when he's like, I'm 45 years old. I got a lot of bleep going on, in life. And obviously he did. But I know Tom doesn't want to end like that. And like you said, the rumors are out there. And how lucky is Tom Brady that he's one of the few quarterbacks that really has his options open, because most teams obviously would want to welcome Tom because he is still the Tom Brady that's a GOAT that many of us obviously idolize in this game of football. But all that to say, again, you could tell he was hiding so much back. He was trying not to let out, again, trying to be that strong Tom Brady, but he does have a lot of stuff going on. And I think Tom is going to have to deal with that. So again, this is going to be a time where he really has to get to know himself. Football has been a large part of his life for so long, but don't think as an athlete that your mental does not impact your football presence in your football game. We see it time and time again where sometimes players aren't able to perform because they get into their own heads. And I feel like right now Tom Brady is in his own head and he's not able to perform physically. So to me, if I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I'm probably idolizing my Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey because I don't know if it's going to be in good use next season. If I'm Tom, I'm thinking he just needs a new situation. Obviously, he's in a new situation in his personal life as a single man, at least to my knowledge. I don't know if he's dating or anything. But now I also think he needs a new situation in terms of football life. And obviously, I just feel like Tom right now, again, needs to take a step back and really see if his heart can be in football. Because otherwise, I hope he doesn't do any team a disservice and bring a half part of himself, but I don't want to say half eggs. I know we're on live and I'm not going to curse.
That's all right.
But
I've never heard it before, but
you can't be 50% in football. You have to be all there. You have to be fully there. Football is all about guys buying in. And right now, you can't be a quarterback asking guys to buy in if you haven't fully bought in.
Makes lots of sense. Harry, what do you say from those comments from Tom?
First off, give me the Peter Griffin soundbite, sir.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Are you kidding me? Give me my time when I'm due. What's he doing? Tom's being Tom. He's dating someone half his age. Okay, he's going through a midlife crisis right now. The next thing you know, you see guys like us, we buy a Corvette. Okay, midlife crisis. Tom, I don't know what you're going to buy. Another yacht? Who cares? Okay, look, if he plays football next year, it's great. You got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to prove. But what did I think of that soundbite that he gave? The same thing he gave last year. It's going to give the general pundits and all the media something to anticipate and talk about for the next 6 to 8 months until football starts again. Guess what? He's probably going to play football. Here's a shocker. It won't be for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, probably. Okay. And you know what? Don't be too upset about it. He led your team to an 8-9 season. This wasn't a positive season.
8-10 after the Cowboy loss there.
No, 8-9. Let's talk regular season. I'm not trying to make it worse than what it really is. They weren't that good this year, guys.
They weren't.
Okay. And you know what? I've got a real hard question for KNN.
Sure, go for it.
You're a good football analyst. You're a great reporter. I've listened to, and Peter's talked in depth about you. It's just amazing. Thank you so much for even being part of the show.
Of course.
But I have a question for you.
Okay.
If David Carr, now I'm not saying that, I'm sorry, that's right. Derek Carr. If
Derek
Carr, Derek, not David. David got sacked too much. If Carr was under center this year with this offensive line, and I'm not saying that Carr is a better quarterback, do you think the Buccaneers would have had a better regular season record?
Ooh, this is interesting because, Derek isn't a popular guy right now in certain parts either, but he is a hot quarterback. He's also being talked about here, in Baltimore if things don't work out with the contract negotiation with Lamar Jackson. So saying that to say, let's look at the positives of Derek Carr, right? He's a guy that can move in the pocket, mobile, and he can throw the football.
Bingo.
I know he's not everybody's favorite, but to me, and also he loves football. I mean, have you heard the guy's press conferences? He's emotional. I mean, every time Derek Carr talks, it's like he takes it to the heart. Which is what you love in the game of football. So all that to say, I mean, will we ever know? Obviously, no. But to me, I think he does would have gave this team, especially, just a good chance. And also, he wouldn't have been afraid to be hit in that game, folks.
And you know what? Amen. And that's exactly the truthful answer, because I asked numerous people this question on my show as well as Peter's. But by the way, Baltimore would be blessed to get Carr up under center.
I'm just saying.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, it wouldn't be Cincinnati ruling the roost in that division. It would have been Baltimore. I loved Lamar Jackson. Don't get me wrong, but he cannot stay healthy, unfortunately.
Let me ask you that, and then we'll get you out of here because we got Mitchell Renz of Chat Sports, Raiders Report, who's going to absolutely talk about Derek Carr, who's going to talk about Tom Brady. And I know your time is, you got a lot of shows that you do. You're a very busy lady. Lamar Jackson, how do you think that situation is going to work out with the Baltimore Ravens? Do you see them franchising him? Will they sign him to that contract that he wants him, Deshaun Watson, or could they eventually trade him? And this guy right here is a Chicago Bear fan. I'm hearing possibly maybe trade to the Bears for Justin Fields and number 1 pick, something along those lines. How do you see that play?
No, please.
Yeah.
Keep him right over there in Baltimore.
Too funny. I'll tell you, Baltimore fans right now, there's nothing right now with the Ravens. Baltimore fans don't know how to feel. Maybe the only thing going good in Baltimore right now is that we had Oprah Winfrey back to introduce our brand new governor, Wes Moore, here in Maryland. But football fans are not feeling excited. Why? Because their number 8 jerseys, they're not knowing if they can put it to use. I woke up this morning to text Kelsey, did you see Lamar's Instagram? He unfollowed the team. He took it out of his bio. And obviously Lamar wants to get paid. He knows he deserves to get paid. He bet on himself this season, playing without the contract that he wanted from this organization. And now all of a sudden it feels like we're at a standstill. So I say all that to say, Baltimore, the last time they paid a quarterback, it was Joe Flacco, and things didn't turn out well after that because they couldn't keep key pieces. I don't see the organization wanting to do that again. I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. I love him in Baltimore. Baltimore has been built around him, and this offense is different around him, but I just don't see the Ravens paying him the money that he wants to get paid because they know they have other pieces that are also necessities if this team actually does want to compete, not only in the AFC, but get back back to being the kings of the AFC North. So
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson's time in Baltimore, I think, is limited.
How can they pay him? How can they pay him when they've just emptied out the trucks and just backed it up for Roquan?
They paid Roquan Smith, right?
Okay,
And better
they just
believe
got done
Lamar
paying
is
Roquan.
looking at that probably, right? He's like, this guy came through midway through the season and he got paid, and I've been trying to get paid since the beginning of the season.
Look,
So
they made it rain over Roquan. They can't make it
100
rain over that
million.
organization because let me tell you something. They don't have that kind of money to throw around. If they pay Lamar Jackson the kind of money, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain what's going to happen to this organization here. From a gambling standpoint, you will have losing season after losing season, not because of the man's abilities, because you're not going to be able to surround him with the talent. And that's been the problem in Baltimore for the longest time.
Right.
You haven't had a decent running game. You've always had a stout defense, and you've got nobody to throw the ball to. And when you did, you traded
That's
him.
the thing. You got to have somebody to throw the ball to. You know, Demarcus Robinson, he hasn't been able to be consistent. Sammy Watkins. I mean, his most consistent weapon has been Mark Andrews. And, you know, thank gosh this team got J.K. Dobbins back. But remember, Rashad Bateman injured. I mean, this is a Ravens team that had injuries last season. They got it back this season. They just haven't been able to keep the guys that they need to stay healthy. And again, teams have figured out Lamar likes to throw to Mark Andrews, right? Which makes it that much harder. And that's why Lamar has had to put so much on his back. So like I said, Baltimore has other pieces that they need, which kind of makes it almost nearly impossible to pay Lamar what he wants. And of course, Deshaun Watson's contract really messed it up for Baltimore because he's going to want more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson got. So now the question to me is, it's not going to be if Lamar gets paid. He's going to get paid. The question is,
who's going to pay him?
Get paid?
Who's going to pay him?
Exactly.
We got to get you here on this. She's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Can't you keep her
back on? Well, we got another guest on. He's going to give us the Raiders' perspective around the NFL tonight. Tom Brady rumors are running rampant.
All you got to do is just squeeze them in. Look, guess what?
I wish I could. Look, next
That's
time
all
I will
right.
come back.
Go ahead and promote yourself
better.
here on the sports web.
Thank you so much, everyone. Such a joy. Peter is awesome. This show is awesome. So definitely keep tuning in and watching, and would love to connect with you guys. Follow me on social media, The Real K Nelson, and check out my website, KelseyNicoleNelson.com, and also on Facebook, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Thanks so much, fellas. I am off just to go talk some NBA and all the craziness happening there with our guy, John Wall, and so much
There
more.
you go. Valley Sports' own NBA expert, also the Real KNN on Fox Sports. Miss Kelsey Nicole Nelson, thanks a lot for your time.
Bye, guys.
Hi, Kelsey. Thanks for coming on.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good stuff there. Let's go out to this guy right here who's also awesome. Looked at his work on Chat Sports, which has like a 310,000 following, something along those lines. That's crazy. And then he's got Raiders Report about Chat Sports, a part of Chat Sports with 131,000. Mitchell Renz, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good tonight, guys. If you hear anything weird in the background, it's my dog Chuck. He's just kind of walking around the room. So if you hear anything squeaking or water, that's what it is.
Well, listen, my dog is also walking around, and we got similar dogs. His name is Alexander, and he decided that he wanted to come on the show sometime. So you may see him.
That's all right. My cats will kick your dog's ass, all right?
I don't know, man. Chuck's pretty scary.
I'm kidding you, man. I'm kidding you.
With that being said, all the talk has been on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want to get your thoughts on that playoff loss in the season as a whole, how disappointing it was. 8-9. I mean, come on, Mitchell. You expected more than that. 8 wins this year from this highly talented Tampa Bay Buccaneer team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the perfect example of, we can talk about all the flashiness of bringing in guys like Julio Jones. You got Chris Godwin. You got Mike Evans. You got a guy in Leonard Fournette. I get he was injured, but he's still a talented running back in my book. And I like K-Dot, and I think Cameron Brate's a good dude. Their defense is still a very talented unit. But in the NFL, again, you can talk about Brady, all these flashy. It's one in the trenches. And the offensive line for Tampa Bay was the biggest reason why they struggled this season and why they struggled in that playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, when you look at a game where you throw 66 times compared to you throw the only 12, the Cowboys defense is built on letting them put their ears back and get north and south after your quarterback. And it's no mistake, right? Like, I'm not 45 years old, and I hope that I look half the way Brady looks when he's 45. But when you're playing against premier athletes in the way that they are, you got to be able to move a little bit. And his inability to be able to move, their inability to be able to pass block, their inability to be able to run block, that's the reason why this Buccaneers team struggled. Now, everyone's like, it's Brady's first losing season in his entire career. I think if they would have played that final game against Atlanta, they would have ended up winning. 9-8, it doesn't look as negative as what it is. But, yeah, no doubt, definitely disappointing. Luckily, though, you play in the worst division in all of football, so you make the playoffs.
All right. With that being said, the rumors have been swirling all offseason, last couple of months here, that he's headed to the Raiders. Tell me what you recently heard about this. Tom Brady to the Las Vegas Raiders, why this makes sense and why it may not make sense. And you've seen the comments. Do you think this guy's coming back? Do you think he's coming back to the Bucs? Do you think he's going to another team other than the Raiders? Make some sense of this, Mitchell.
You know, I've been talking about Tom Brady probably more than any human being in the last, honestly, month and a half. And I put out a tweet on December 8th, and it said, Tom Brady has a better chance of starting for the Raiders in 2023 than Derek Carr. A lot of Raider fans obviously didn't like that. Put it on my Instagram. That thing has got over 60,000 likes. It climbs 10,000 likes every day, it seems, because it's starting to become true and true. When I talk to people that I know around the NFL, if Tom Brady wants to be a Raider, it's 100% happening. I said that a month ago, and now you got guys like Rappaport, Schefter, Jeremy Fowler, Albert Breer saying the exact same thing. You got people who are even tied to the Raiders organization saying it's Tom Brady as plan A. Plan B is, are you sure you don't want to come, Tom? Because without you, then they might look to Jimmy Garoppolo. And, you know, one of the things that I've been saying with McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, those are obviously New England guys. If they don't have a winning season in 2023, they're not coming back in 2024. So you go look at Mark Davis trying to bring in Brady in 2020. All those reports have been confirmed that he tried to bring in Brady, tried to bring in Gronk in 2020. Gruden said, no, we're going to stick with Derek Carr. Then obviously he goes to the Bucs, wins a freaking Super Bowl. But if Mark Davis wants it, if McDaniels wants it, and Ziegler want it, all three of those guys want it. It's really up to TB12. And somebody asked me today, like, Mitch, what does Brady have to play for anymore? I don't really have that answer. Obviously, his legacy is sealed. But to me, Brady is still about trying to put another notch in his belt. And to me, if he goes to Las Vegas, all you got to do is win one playoff game. That's all you got to do. Win one playoff game. And if he does that, that's another notch in his belt. And that also ensures that McDaniels and Ziegler are going to be back. And when you've won 6 Super Bowls and have had as much success as what you have, sorry, that was my alarm to come on your show, to have as much success as you have, 48 playoff appearances. Joe Montana's got 16 playoff wins. Like, it's not even close. McDaniels and Ziegler are going to bet on Tom Brady, and I don't really blame them for doing that.
Harry the Greek, you got a question for this guy right here?
Yeah, actually, it's not even so much of a question. It's more of a comment and just an opinion, and I'd love to get his feedback on it. But yes, I mean, in a perfect marriage, I think it would be cool for Tom to go out to the Raiders and see what can happen, especially to go back with McDaniels. But let me ask you a question. Why would he want to do that at this point in his career when he can just go a couple of 100 miles south and go play with a team with exactly set up offensively for what he wants in the Miami Dolphins? Because Tua obviously should not be playing football. That's a shame. That's a travesty what they've done to this young man down there and continuing to put him out on the field. And Teddy Bridgewater is just a gap quarterback. But what stops Tom from doing that? And the second, that's just an opinion. I'd love your response to that. But do you think, and I've asked everybody that's been on the show, that if Carr was at Tampa this year to start the season behind this decimated offensive line, do you think that this team would have had a better regular season record than what they actually showed with Tom Brady under center?
So I'll go to the first one there. I mean, in my show, I said the top destinations for Tom Brady. Number 1's the Raiders. 1B is the Miami Dolphins. And then I said Buccaneers, then he's going to retire. I'm with you. I mean, you look at just both of those teams, Miami, Raiders. He's also obviously has a lot of connections with Miami. Stephen Ross, maybe he was on the yacht, maybe he wasn't, right? But we got the Michigan connections there. I mean, it's literally the business school of Michigan is literally the business Ross school, whatever the heck it's called. He's got all the connections with Ross. So Miami, it does make a lot of sense. He's got family that's still in Florida. But I do think Miami wants to go with Tua, right? Like, they already said this week that their plan is to go with Tua Tagovailoa. If I'm Tom Brady, I'm sitting there going, I can go to a team that wants to bring me in. They want to bring me in. They just want to make me as happily as humanly possible. And maybe that's the route. Maybe the Raiders decide to give him more money. I don't know what the answer is. I don't really think money is the answer for Brady at this point of his life. I don't really think it matters to him all that much. But I agree in the aspect of it's between the Raiders, it's between the Miami Dolphins, and then everybody else is down here. And I don't even think that they're in that equation. I'm a big believer in the NFL. Where there is smoke, there's fire.
There's fire.
And there's all this smoke. And when you got guys like Rapp, Schefter, everyone saying it's looking at the Raiders, and then all of a sudden Gronk starts poking his head out again. And the last time Gronk and Brady were really a thing, yeah, I get it was in Tampa. But it was also, remember, Dana White came out and said that this is confirmed that their plan was to go to Vegas. I could definitely see Gronk having a good time in Vegas. And I know the NFL, there's a lot of attention there. And Brady, I think, wants attention, and he's single now. He can go have a good time in Las Vegas. I don't remember your second question, though. What was it?
It really wasn't a second question. It was a comment, but it's actually a question. It's not even a comment. Derek Carr under center in Tampa versus Tom Brady with this offensive line that happened this year. Better record or worse record?
I got to say it's a worse record. Like I have said multiple times, I believe Derek Carr has dealt with more BS than probably any quarterback in NFL history. The different head coaches, different OCs, the terrible defenses.
I'm from Chicago. I'll debate that, okay?
I'm
from Chicago. I'll debate that with the Cutler and the 5 different offensive coordinators. I feel so bad, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but man, when you said that I felt that. I did. I felt that. But you go back to the time of Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky. How many different forget the head coaches. Figure about all the OCs that these poor quarterbacks have had to endure. I mean, give me a break.
I guess the only thing I'll say on the Raiders was they also had the whole, Henry Ruggs situation, the John Gruden emails. I mean, we can battle about it. I mean, I know Chicago's never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 passing yards, so that one's definitely kind of a rough one to hang your hat on, no doubt about that. But with DC, to me, people want the Derek Carr that was there in 2016. In 2016, Derek Carr was an MVP caliber quarterback. I don't really think many people would dispute that, right? You have a year where you throw 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The following year, 32-13. Then he has the bad injury. After the bad injury, it was just a little bit of a downhill slope. And one of the reasons why I like Brady and one of the reasons why, it's time to move on from Derek is because I want my quarterback playing solid football at the end of the year. Did Brady struggle at the end of the year? Yeah, but again, he's 45. Derek has never played his best football near the end of any season whatsoever. And then on top of this, the offensive line. I mean, you would just want to talk about numbers. Like I just tweeted it out. The Raiders' offensive line, according to ESPN analytics, I mean, you look at just pass win rush or pass blocking rate, run blocking rate. The Raiders are 10th and 11th. Where Tampa Bay's 25th and 31st. And then on top of that, Derek got to play with Devontae Adams. I got a lot of respect for Godwin. I got a lot of respect for Mike Evans. Neither of those guys is Devontae Adams. Better duo, but he also had the leading rusher in the NFL in Josh Jacobs in Tampa Bay. That was probably one of the most pathetic offensive line running games I've ever seen put together in an NFL game. I mean, you're averaging 3.4 yards per carry, dead last in the NFL. Carr had a lot more to work with, and I really don't think that he would have played well in Byron Leftwich's system.
We're on with Mitchell Renz here of Chat Sports. The Raiders report 131,000 subscribe on YouTube. It is crazy. He's awesome with what he does. Of course, here the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here on the Evolution, the Sports Web, live on I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. With that being said, in your opinion, why didn't it work out with Carr? Because the interceptions went up this year. His completion percentage went down from 64 to 60. Why do you think it didn't work out? Was it a new offense? Was it the fact that McDaniels didn't want him to be the quarterback? That's why eventually they didn't work out. He sent him home, 2 games left in the season. Why didn't it work out?
Well, there was actually a really good article that was just released by a guy. His name's Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated. Check it out. And I'm going to go with the Cliff Notes version here. You can always point the finger, right? You go 6-11 in a season, a lot of fingers to be pointed. What I really gathered from it, though, was Derek didn't buy in. And when you talk about McDaniels and Ziegler, they run a system where everybody is the same, right? Like everybody is the same. Like, sure, some guys get paid more, but you're going to get talked to the exact same. It didn't really sound like Derek wanted to be talked to the exact same as some other people. So when you read the article, it sounds like he didn't buy into the whole I'm going to be your quarterback and fit in your system. I think that's number one. I'll straight up tell you, I don't believe in Josh McDaniels as a head coach. I believe if you can't be a leader of men, it's really, really hard to lead football teams, right? I just, you go look at Denver, what he did to Indianapolis. It's tough, right? There's nobody. I'm going to be the last person that stands up here and pounds on a table for McDaniels. I watch so many of those games where you blow 5-10 point leads. But I will say this. When I watched Derek Carr try to execute the offense, he did miss a lot. He did a lot of checkdowns. He got the happy feet, and he mentally beat himself up. And a lot of times I think he almost mentally took himself out of the game. I mean, those 4 games in December, he didn't have a single game over a completion percentage of 56%. The Raiders have way too much talent on the offensive side of the football. You got Mark Davis, who spent $344.5 million on Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and Derek Carr, and then you're unable to win. Like, I get that Derek was benched, but the reason why Derek was benched is because they're planning for the future, right? If you're going to be a team that says that, hey, we're all about the plan and we're sticking to the plan, then you got to do that. If Derek Carr would have gotten hurt in one of those final 2 games, they would have been on the ropes for $32.9 million in 2023 and then $7.5 million in 2024. Essentially, they're like, you know what? I'm going to keep $40.4 million in my pocket. I'm going to ensure that you don't get hurt, and then we're going to send you off to the sunset. Apparently, that didn't really sit well with DC. It would have been a distraction. So they told him to leave. And I don't blame Derek for being upset because he's absolutely stayed close and true to this team. But also, like, as a Raiders organization, you got to do what you feel is best for your team going forward. And I think that's what they did.
With that being said, and we'll come back here, how does this trade situation work out? I mean, there's a time span here, February 15th. I mean, can Carr actually screw the organization to where they can't trade him and basically they have to release him and he's able to go to any team he wants to? And could you see him, if Brady decides to move on to the Raiders, that Carr could end up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I mean, I absolutely think Derek Carr, Tampa Bay is a realistic landing spot. I mean, when I talk about my top destinations for DC, it should be the NFC South. I mean, if Brady leaves, you can make a strong argument Carr's the best quarterback in that division. And then if he goes to New Orleans, he can play with Dennis Allen where he started his career. They got a good defense. That's a chance to win. Tampa Bay and Derek Carr got a chance to win. Carolina Panthers, maybe not so much. Atlanta, maybe not so much. But there's absolutely opportunities there for you to be able to win football games in the South. Chuck.
That's all right. No worries.
Don't make me get my cat, man.
I'm about to get Alex over here.
Hang on.
No, that's all good.
I got to just put him in the other room.
That's all good. I'll take you off a screen there really quick. And we're on with Mitchell Renz here of Chat Sports.
I got some comments from him when he comes back because he did make some really good points. And he was talking about people want to see Derek Carr play like he did back in 2016. But if everybody remembers correctly, in 2017, that conference and that division really started to get really good with Kansas City and then the emergence of what they were doing. Let me tell you something, Peter. The Raiders were a really good football team last year. They tried to do what the Washington Redskins did when they were the Redskins, not the football team or the Commanders, when they tried to buy a football team and they started putting all those other pieces together. That was, in my opinion, that was the Raiders' downfall. I handicap and prognosticate a lot of different games and I break down a lot of game film. One of the most talented football teams with one of the worst coaching staffs in the entire National Football League resides in Las Vegas. Okay. In my opinion, I am right there with him. He has no business being a head coach. He's failed everywhere he's gone. He should go back to New England and just go be a coordinator over there because obviously that's the only way it's going to work. It's a shame what they've done to DC because DC, in my eyes, is a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. And let me tell you something. Shame on the coaching staff for not adjusting their procedure. I mean, to adjust to the game plan that should fit that quarterback's needs. Very similar to what happened, and I hate to use this as an analogy, but look what Chicago did to Mitchell Trubisky. Is he really, truly as bad? They ruined him. Absolutely ruined him. He was a number 2 pick.
He was a number 2 pick, and he
Okay.
didn't have that many starts in college at 14. And, again,
Matt Nagy? Really?
Yeah, multiple offensive coordinators will do that
Right.
to young quarterbacks. Going back to it, in your opinion, Mitchell, why is Carr a fit in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, that's a great
I
question.
think he's a fit in Tampa Bay because he can be if the offensive lines can help him stay upright, Carr can be a good quarterback. Now, I'll be honest, I don't view Carr as top 5. Hell, I honestly don't even know if he's a top 16 quarterback in the NFL anymore. And I watched Derek play very, very closely, and I watched the all-22 film. He misses a lot of guys. The arm talent's not there, and then his overall pocket awareness is just it struggles. I do agree that McDaniel's a better offensive coordinator, and there's just certain guys that are built to be better coordinators. That's not a knock on them. It's just that's what some people are built better at. Like Todd Bowles, perfect example. He's a defensive coordinator, not a head coach, right? Like there's just certain guys who are better at certain things, but Carr would have success playing elsewhere, and I think it's time to move on. But I also don't really think it's very fair to say that Derek, I don't know, they're mistreating Derek in any way. Like if I had millions of dollars, billions, shit like Mark Davis has, and I gave Derek Carr at the time the highest paid quarterback contract in the NFL, which he did, 5 years, $125 million. In my mind, and maybe this is foolish of me, but when you give a quarterback that type of money, my mindset is, all right, I'm making you the highest paid player in the NFL. You should be able to lead this team no matter what. Now, we've seen this year as a perfect example that it's a team sport, right? Aaron Rodgers, highest paid quarterback in the NFL, didn't make the playoffs. Browns, Deshaun Watson, I believe he's top 4, didn't make the playoffs. Kyler Murray, top 4, didn't make the playoffs. Russell Wilson, he's number 2, didn't make the playoffs, right? So, like, you still got to be able to build the team around him. But Mark Davis gave Derek Carr 2 $100 million contracts, and he's never been able to win. And I get it. The defense has been bad. The last time the Raiders had a top 20 defense in terms of points allowed was all the way back in 2002. But I did watch a lot of those Raiders games this season, and a lot of those second half leads that they blew, that's not on the defense. It's on the offense.
Yep.
When you got a team offensively, when you had leads, and the 5 games that they blew, the 10-plus leads, they scored 12 points in the second half. They can't move the football at times, and I do think that falls on Derek's shoulders. So, like,
I know
if
2
people
of those
want to take
games.
them, they can take them. I'm sorry, what?
I know 2 of those games, and they kept pushing the ball downfield. That's why I said, and this is why I'm supporting Derek Carr. Look, you kind of answered your own question. You made my point for me. When you started bringing up Aaron Rodgers and you started talking about the other quarterbacks, these quarterbacks are not fitting in these systems. These managers and these head coaches need to put a game plan together to fit the quarterback's strengths. Look, He's not the GOAT, okay? But they can put a game plan together to make it more successful for that particular quarterback. And I'm sure you have to agree with me. That's exactly what happened in Denver, because you don't turn into a piece of garbage automatically overnight. Let's go back to the beginning of the season when people were predicting that Kansas City was going to finish last in their division, and it was going to be a fight between 2 teams. You ready? It was going to be the Chargers and the Raiders, and the other way around. I said, no. First off, don't dethrone Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. Yeah. In my opinion, they're still going to be the best team in that division. Then everybody else is going to be fighting for any kind of recognition. But I did say that the Denver Broncos would finish last in that division because I just didn't see that marriage happening. And I was very worried what was going to happen in Vegas. But I'm still going to, I'm steadfast when I say this. They just have not put a program together to fit Derek Carr's needs. And you are correct. 12-point leads. I mean, I'm sorry, to have leads to blow them like that. And they're continuing to push it downfield. I don't care, man. Play defense and run the football. That wins championships in football games.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it, but you still got to have a quarterback who can complete some of the throws, which is definitely an area that Derek has continued to struggle in. But the Raiders have a talented football team, and I agree. If good offensive coordinators build offenses around those teams, like my number 1 head coach that I wanted, I do a video every year on it because the Raiders have been in this situation so many times. My number 1 head coach that I wanted the Raiders to get, I wanted them to go out and get Brian Daboll. I love Brian Daboll. I think he's done an amazing job in New York. But the one coach who I think has done maybe the most brilliant job, and it's Philadelphia. Like, Jalen Hurts to me is not an amazing quarterback, but they took an offense and they built it around Jalen Hurts' strengths. I agree. Right now, they're trying to take Derek Carr, who's a square, and fit him into a triangle peg, and it's not working. But McDaniels is the type of guy where you're like, he's just going to keep trying to make it fit. And if it doesn't fit, then they get rid of a peg and they try to get a new one. So I'm not going to sit up here and defend McDaniels, but I can't sit up here and say that I think Carr is at that point anymore where he's going to take a team. The only reason why he's going to take a team to the playoffs is because they're in a weak division. Like, he's just not that guy anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, and a lot of people believe that too because of the interception rate and the completion percentage. We shall see in the offseason. Really quick, last question. I know you got to get out of here. Davante Adams, much was made during the offseason. He's going to join Carr. Now Carr's not a part of this team anymore. So could there be some friction coming with Davante trying to get out of there? And the reason why I mention this, a lot of Bears fans would like to possibly trade for Davante Adams. How's that situation working out? What do you hear from the organization on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Davante and Derek are good friends. In fact, the reason why Davante goes by Tay is because that's what Derek nicknamed him back at Fresno State. Like, they go way, way back, and they're always going to be friends. They're always going to be family. I mean, there's no changing that. Davante obviously was upset with the way Derek Carr got benched. And I think that just more falls on the shoulders of, that's my guy, right? Like, I mean, we all got friends. We all got family. When you feel something is wrong by them, you have their back. And I'm going to tip my cap to Davante Adams on that. But also, Adams has said since the whole benching that he wants to be a Raider. The only way that there's going to be friction in this is Davante said that he wants to have at least some say in who the next quarterback is going to be. So if he has a say, and they don't give him the say, like, everyone's like, oh, go with a rookie quarterback. Roll out there with Jarrett Stidham. No disrespect to any rookie quarterback out there. I mean, I like Bryce Young, but besides Bryce Young, I actually don't think there's another single rookie quarterback that's ready to start right away for a team that would actually try to contend, right? And the reason that Davante wants that, though, is because when you actually look at Davante Adams' contract is split in twos. The first 3 years, it's 3 years, $67.5 million. So basically like $22.5 million. And then the Raiders, after that third year, can cut him, and they can save $72 million. If Davante Adams wants to make $40 million per year when he signed that 5 years, $140 million, he needs to be those last 2 years. So he knows he needs a quarterback now to help him get that final money, which get his money. But he also wanted to go to the Raiders because that was the team he grew up rooting for. He said one of the biggest reasons why he came to the Raiders, in fact, all the way back in March when he had his introductory conference, he said the biggest reason why I came to the Raiders was family. Family was never able to go see him. His dad is deathly afraid to fly, so his dad will not fly to games. When he went to the game in Los Angeles, he bought his family a $500,000 suite because it was the first time the entire family has been able to watch him. Now they go to Raiders games. I think Davante at this time of his life, family means a lot. Don't get me wrong. Money, generational money, it's all there as well. He wanted to play with Derek, but I do think he looked himself in the mirror and he sat down with a lot of the other teammates and was like, Derek wasn't the guy, and that's okay. And I also think that Davante, being the friend that he is with Derek, is like, sometimes breakups need to happen, right? I mean, it just needs to happen. The breakup with the Raiders and Derek Carr, probably the best for Derek, probably the best for the Raiders. But in terms of trading DC, I think this is the other thing I was going to talk about before Chuck was going insane.
Yeah.
Trading Derek Carr is absolutely a risk because you have to move on from DC before February 15th. If Derek is on the Raiders roster after February 15th, he gets his guaranteed extra $40.4 million.
Wow.
The reason why trading Derek is an issue and why it's a little bit wishy-washy, when he signed his deal, right, they can cut him and they can save the final 3 years and $120.5 million. Raiders can save that. But, right, and one of the reasons why I said I would not want the Raiders to trade with the Indianapolis Colts, what if the Indianapolis Colts did to the Raiders what Josh McDaniels did to them back in 2018? You agree to a contract in principle, and then, I don't know, February 16th or 17th, they're like, you know what? I'm good. Not going to trade. Derek's on the Raiders roster then. They have to pay him. He gets his money, and then technically either the Raiders could cut him, he can go to another team and sign, or you just keep him on the roster again. So trading Derek Carr absolutely comes with risks. And if Derek wanted to get revenge against the Raiders, he absolutely could do that.
You know what? I just want to make one comment. Because you said that, I'm going to go on record and say Tom Brady won't be a Raider then. Because of that. Because I can assure you of one thing, Tom Brady, if you listen to his presser after the game, he's not anywhere even close to making a decision on what he's going to do. Go ahead and listen to it. I don't think that if history has the tendency of repeating itself, it took forever for him to make a decision on what he was going to do. And it was just like at a whim thing. I do not believe that Tom Brady is going to make a decision before February 15th. And that seems like it has to get done over at the Raiders first, because they're not going to be able to hold on to that $40 million and sign another quarterback. That's almost impossible.
And he can't.
They'll cut him.
Wow,
Yeah,
that was like the whole key to this, man. Thank you for sharing that, because I did not know that.
If he doesn't get traded,
he gets
sorry,
cut.
I mean, interrupt you. It's your show. I shouldn't do that.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
If he doesn't get traded by the 15th, they will cut him and they'll save his entire contract. So no matter what, Derek Carr will not be on the Raiders after the 15th.
There you go. And I think there's certainly a possibility for him to get cut and basically, be able to decide. I don't know what the Raiders can get for him. I know there was a rumor last year that the Colts were supposedly offering 2 first-round picks from him. And, of course, they didn't take that trade. So now you're looking back at it. You're thinking maybe the Colts are going to do it. I don't think the Colts are going to do it. I tell you what, I know you got to get out of here. So go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate the invite. I know we've been DMing for quite some time, but I'm Mitchell Renz. You guys can find me literally anywhere. IG, Twitter, at Mitchell Renz365. I cover the Raiders at Chat Sports. I like to say Chat Sports is kind of a cool little blend of ESPN meets Barstool Sports. We got over 40 YouTube channels over there. Combined, all of our subscribers adds up to a little bit over 1 million. We're just a bunch of bros. I'm actually one of the oldest guys that works at Chat Sports, which is kind of wild to me. But check us out. We're an interactive show. We throw people up on the screen with us. I know this past week we do these shows. They're called watch parties. We had 757,000 people tune in. We get crazy. We have a good time. But at the end of the day, we're just fans at heart. So check us out. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Chat Sports. And if you want to follow me for Raider stuff, I'm right there.
Hey, Mitchell, you got to show us the artwork on the arm. I've been trying to see it.
You want to see it?
I got to see the artwork on the arm.
Let's see it.
Let me see the artwork.
I just got it. So, Dad, if you're
really
watching,
cool,
don't
bro.
see. So, this is a cross which is wrapped in a cancer ribbon. I unfortunately just lost my grandfather 2 years ago. So that's for him.
Sorry for
the
your
rose
loss,
was for the flowers on his grave. The prayer hands are the exact same prayer hands that I have the chain for, which the same prayer hands on his tombstone. And then up here is this glass, which is right here, is actually from a window from my hometown in the church. And then the dove represents my grandmother. So my confirmation in 8th grade, I had St. Francis was the saint that she picked for me, and St. Francis is known for doves. So this is my little homage to my grandma and grandpa. This is going to be family sleeve, and then my leg's going to go towards something. I said I'd get a Raiders tattoo live on my show, so that's a little while away.
That's wild, man. Thank you for sharing that.
That's awesome. I know cancers, it touched my family. I lost my father in 2017. I lost my my 2 grandmas, my meemaw, my nanny, both to cancer. So God bless you, my friend. Hang in there. We're here for you. Always welcome on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, all right? Love what you guys do.
You guys.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Mitchell. Thanks a lot. Mitchell Renz right there of Chat Sports. Great stuff. I'm telling you, we've been bringing it tonight. Just us asking questions. You got KNN, you got Mitchell. He's doing his thing. We got all these rumors.
When he was talking about that,
yeah,
when he said, they'll cut him, bro, I don't know if the Raiders have the sack to cut him, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
He answered his own questions. His own statements. That team is built to win now. Devontae Adams, Jacobs, Waller,
Renfro.
Come on. This offense is built to run right now. If they cut him without actually getting a commitment from a Tom Brady,
right,
you just sent this team back to the Stone Ages.
I was thinking of a name that we have not talked about, but we talk about on this show all the time. Aaron Rodgers. What if Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and I see him in the back, he's still tuning in. I know.
Oh God,
he's laughing about it. Let me go back.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. How much of a possibility?
Don't wish that on him.
Nah. With Devontae Adams, is that a possibility of Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders if you can't get a Tom Brady and you? I'm just saying. I mean,
you know, Mitchell. Just to let you know, you can curse on this show. Just a smidge. Go ahead, give it to him, please.
Nah, man. I don't think Rodgers is gonna happen. I would say it's like 1% chance. If you were to ask me in terms of percentages, what I think the Raiders quarterback situation is gonna be, I would say it's like 75%, maybe even 85% Tom Brady. And then the next guys I would say are Jimmy Garoppolo. And then I think before you trade for Rodgers, the Raiders would try to trade for Mac Jones. Mac Jones would be number 3.
Wow.
Rodgers, if in terms of quarterbacks, would be 4. But even then, like, I don't see the Raiders paying Rodgers $50 million a year, and they have to give up all their draft capital to go get him. So
I
just don't think that's
it
the
was
route.
honestly, Mitchell. I wouldn't give him all that draft, or I wouldn't even give him all that money. I'd give him more of the kratom, the things that make him feel whole, as an individual. Here, let me get into my spiritual side of myself. Are you kidding me, Aaron Rodgers? Peter, stop.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. We stir it up here on the Evolution. People go, don't speculate. That's what you do in a sports talk show. I will say this. He is dating the owner's daughter, and that would be the Milwaukee Bucs owner's daughter. So more than likely, he'll be staying around, you would think, Wisconsin, but who knows? Again, Mitchell, thanks a lot for your time.
See you guys.
This guy's awesome. I love this guy.
Yeah, he is awesome. All right, let's go.
But seriously, they can't, Peter. They if they got rid of him prematurely without a commitment.
You're exactly right. But if going back to the Rodgers situation, what if the Packers paid the majority of his contract to get rid of him? Because you don't even know if he's going to come back. And then at the end of the day, the Packers are trying to go with the Jordan Love era. When is that going to start? Because he's shown.
Hurry up, please. Please go to the Jordan Love era.
All right, let's go on to the comments. You're an idiot. Right there first says Roger Shue. Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Looking forward to joining. Thanks for having me.
She was awesome.
Thanks a lot for coming on. Roger Shue says AEW is on. Make this quick. And this is what I got to say to you.
This guy sucks.
Let's go out to Mike. Oh, hey, what's going on, buddy?
Is that my boy Mike Hughes?
It is Mike Hughes. We love Mike Hughes on the show. We got to get him. We got to get his perspective because, again, we're talking Bucs and we can incorporate, what's going to go happen with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I also want to get around the NFL, Phil. It's postseason. We're still talking about playoffs, but I know there's rumors out there and I know there's correspondence. Mike Hughes is unbelievable what he does for his platform when it comes to the Bears, when it comes to the Cubs, when it comes to the WNBA. The man is on it. He does a great job. Mike.
He just has to learn a little bit more about the White Sox, and then he'd be complete.
Well, that's what you got to do. You got to get him on the sports web. You got to corrupt him. You got to get him and talk about the White Sox because that's what you want to do. We'll get him on. It's been a long time, Peter. We went from setting a franchise record 14 wins to losing to the Rams again, and then being swept by the Saints and having our up and down season becoming one and done. I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride the last 3 years. I will say this at the end of the day, if this is the last time, and I posted this on Facebook for Tom Brady, thanks for the memories for the 2 division titles and the 3 playoff appearances and the 1 Super Bowl. It was an amazing ride. Even with all the drama and everything else, I don't think there's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan that would trade that in the world. With that being said, let's go out to the comments. Mike, thanks a lot for that comment. Let me give you the Macho Man. Yeah. Let's go out to Alex. Alex, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. Go.
I got to tell you guys something. First of all, I absolutely love calling in this show. I don't know why.
Because you're welcome. That's why. Because we're not going to hang up on you.
You guys had some good guests tonight. They're very knowledgeable. Gave me some advice here tonight.
Thank you.
But guys, I wanted to
we have to know one thing, Alec.
What's up, bud?
Peter, can I ask him the question?
Go
It's
for it.
the $1 million question. It's
Go
the $1 million
for it.
question. Alec, what did you have for dinner?
Oh, geez. That's a terrible question.
That's good enough to suck right there. I actually had something pretty good. I actually had steak and potatoes with some green beans.
Now, did you have a well done or is it medium for you? Because
Of course it's medium.
Here, brother.
Well, see, everybody tells me I'm wrong for having well done, but I gotta have well done steak.
Wrong,
Peter,
Why?
Peter,
Why?
Peter, I've told you this. Don't share that information.
What? I have my
Never
steak well
share
done.
that.
Listen,
What?
Peter gets a filet
Shame on
mignon.
you.
Hold on. Peter thinks, let me tell you about a redneck steak. Give me a sirloin well done and give me a side of ketchup. That's
No,
Peter.
that's not what I have. You got to have A1 with that steak if we're gonna talk food. And I will,
Man, I
I
love
will
the
eat
show.
some. I know you do. All right, man. So give me your thoughts on.
Guys,
Yes.
I have been giving myself a couple of days to ease up on my pissed off mood, but I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things about basically some things that I saw this season, what went wrong, what did go right,
Yeah.
and what to look forward to in the future.
Sure.
First of all, I want to talk about the man of the hour because he's always the man of the hour, Mr. Tom Brady. I want to say that the moment training camp started, you already know his head wasn't ready into the season. From the moment of the relationship between him and his wife, or now ex-wife,
Sure.
missing training camp. People need to understand a couple of things. Number one,
Hanging out with Robert Kraft.
What you going out of town for a
Missing
wedding
11
for Robert
days
Kraft,
before the season
how we
started.
go on,
Yeah.
missing practices.
Yes. Lots of
I'm going to
drama.
ask you guys a question.
Sure.
What kind of message does that send your entire team? It's you're starting a season and your mind is not focused on a season. I think from the moment training camp started, that's where everything went south. Everything also went south the moment we decided not to bring Arians back. Why? Because of one word and one word only. It starts with the D, guys. Discipline. This team had no discipline, this entire team. I'm only 29, almost 30 years old. I've been watching football for definitely not as long as you guys have. I've never seen a head coach look more lost and confused in this entire season than I saw in Todd Bowles.
You know what? Can I ask a question?
Well, hold on a minute. I want to read these comments really quick, and I
Sure.
want you guys to chew on this. This was said on Todd Bowles' radio show the other day, and this is in care of Joe Bucs fan. He said, those who come back, we got to create new culture, new chemistry, and new camaraderie. We'll have new people coming in if you're lucky enough to come back or privileged enough to come back and be ready to work. We got to create culture. Guys, this was a team that's 2 years removed from winning a Super Bowl. Why is the coach saying we got to create culture? That right there tells me, Alexander, go away. This is a red flag for me, a big time red flag. And
It is a red flag.
That's a red flag.
It is a red flag because it just proves my point that your head coaching is your issue. Because what's the difference between this team and last year? There's really not much of a difference. Yeah, you had a few guys come and go. You did lose some guys on that offensive line with Ali Marpet retiring and a couple guys not coming back. But that still doesn't change the fact that you brought most of your core guys back. But I will say one thing. I noticed Tom Brady do something this year that I don't think he's really, especially on the Cowboys game. I don't know if you guys noticed this on the Cowboys game. Well, what is the one thing Tom did not do almost that entire game?
Hand the ball off.
Huh?
Hand the
ball off.
Well,
That's what he didn't do. Hold on. They ran almost 80 plays and they ran it like 12 times.
12
he didn't hand
times.
the balls off.
Yep.
I mean, give me a break, man.
But guys, what's the one thing that he refused to do?
Hand the ball off.
Well, that too. But he refused if you noticed, and I looked just to confirm, he refused to step into the pocket.
He couldn't.
Well, that's the thing,
Exactly.
though. He couldn't do it because of the offensive line, but also he couldn't step into the pocket
I think
because he didn't want to get hit.
the offensive line held up.
No.
Cowboys game. I think
Let me get an opinion here. I really wish that Ray Kennedy right now was on a 4-way with us. I haven't had a chance to talk to my man Ray, and I know he watches the game.
Now. I'm going to send him a link right now.
And you and I talked about it at halftime when they were down. And Peter, what did I say? They're not out of this game. They need to run the football. However, they will refuse to run it because they're in panic mode. Alec, let me tell you what I watched when I broke this game down. Okay. I watched a team in the Dallas Cowboys that very rarely showed an 8-man front. As a matter of fact, Alec, Turbo, which is him, and I were watching the game together going, you know what? They're running a 2-cover shell the entire game. They ran such a soft zone. They were daring Tampa to run the football because anytime they would have handed that ball off, it would have been good for 8 to 10 yards. They refused to run the football. And Dallas's whole game plan was, look, we're going to try to get a little bit of pressure up the middle with a 4-man front. And we are going to sit back and we're going to make sure that this Tampa team doesn't pick us apart. That's what Dallas did in that game. And Tampa never bit. They told Tampa, run the football, and Tampa refused.
Yeah, Tampa refused. They absolutely refused. Go ahead, Alex.
What happened? I'm going to ask you guys another question. And yes, you do. You have some great points. We completely abandoned the run game. There's no doubt about that. But guys, there was a turning point in that game. And that turning point, and me and Peter have talked about this all year long. So many times I've came on the show and talked about it after another losing game. Is it always comes down, Peter, how many times have I said this to you? It's always that one play that determines the game. How many times have I told you that? And
there wasn't one play to determine this game.
Oh, there was. The Bucs were playing pretty badass until when?
When?
Tom Brady turned that ball over.
That's it. You turned the ball over in the red zone because if
other than that, we were playing decent. We were getting down the field.
Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half. Alec, please. I respect you. I respect your opinion. But you got to stop with this nonsense right here. You're telling me the turning point was because of one pick and you're the GOAT? Who the hell is Trevor Lawrence to throw 4 interceptions and come back from 20-plus points down? No, I don't want to hear that. This was play calling.
Season long. I'm not saying that, and Harry, I really have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you.
I'm saying that we're not. You can't compare us to the Jags because the Bucs don't have that drive. You are right, but that goes back to your head coaching. The Bucs don't have the drive where
the Jacksonville Jaguars, Alex, stop. The Jacksonville Jaguars couldn't sniff Tampa Bay Buccaneers jockstrap. Position by position. They couldn't do it. Trevor Lawrence, Tom Brady. I'm going to take Tom Brady all day long. Give me both their wide receivers, and I'll tell you Godwin's better than both of them combined. I didn't even get into a Mike Evans. Give me a break, man. That team, you can't even compare it.
I'm just saying that I feel that was unfortunately our turning point. Because why? Because unfortunately this Buccaneers team does not know how to, how many times, another thing me and Peter talked about this season, how many times have I stressed, how come we can't put a mistake behind us, move forward, we're blowing them out. No, we let that mistake jet us the entire rest of the game. You are right. Yes, did Tom Brady intercept the ball just one time? Yes. Made a mistake.
Because you refuse to run the football.
The coaching on the sideline does not have no discipline. Well, we can't just say, you know what, let's put that behind us. Let's rebound. Let's get back. Let's get out there. Let's bust our asses and let's play the football team that we know we are. Unfortunately, we've not seen that this year. And
Bad offensive line, refuse to run the football. Bad offensive line, refuse to run the football. And where was your leader in the preseason? I'm not going to harp on it anymore, but I'm going to keep saying it. Where was your offensive line? Because it was tore up. Refuse to run the football. You cannot win football games in the National Football League passing the ball consistently over 40 times a game.
I agree. Alex, we're gonna. I hate to cut.
And that's not on Todd Bowles.
Use that second call. Great points. We're gonna get out to JC Allen of Pewter Report. Thanks a lot for the call there, Alex. Let me get out to JC Allen here because he wants to chime in. We're gonna get him.
JC's on.
Yes, absolutely. Get the latest from him. Alex, call back. You're always welcome to call back. Some great points. I know there's a lot of Bucs fans out there that want to hear from this guy right here, Mr. JC Allen of Pewter Report. Welcome to the Evolution. How you doing tonight, my friend?
What's going on, guys? How's everybody?
Yeah, doing great. Try to figure this whole situation out. I got to start with this culture thing. I mean, what is Todd Bowles talking about? Building culture or creating culture? Once again, going back to it, and this is from his radio show in care of Joe Bucs fan. Those who come back, we got to create new culture, new chemistry, and new camaraderie. We'll have new people coming in. If you're lucky enough to come back or privileged enough to come back, be ready to work. What?
And I think there's a simple explanation for that. And it's something Bowles referenced earlier in the season as well when he spoke about the Super Bowl mentality. We won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Some people are still in that Super Bowl dreamland or fantasy land. I don't have the direct quote, but I will write a story about that.
Well, it's good. Thank you.
Anyways, he said something about that earlier. I think the culture that he wants to create is after they won the Super Bowl, and BA is a very laid-back coach. We know that. I think there was more of a laid-back attitude in the locker room this year amongst players, and Bowles demanded more work. They wanted to work harder, show mental toughness, mental fortitude, resiliency, which I think the team had, but not throughout games. So I think that's the culture he's looking for. Instead of this laid back, we're coming in, we're coming to work. And if you don't want to work, you shouldn't be here. He's of that old school mentality. And I think as BA, as much fun as he was, and he won the Bucs a Super Bowl, got them, to the best, tied for the best record in the league last year, won the division, and got knocked out due to some injuries. They still maintain Tristan Wirfs plays that game. They probably have a good chance to win it. But I digress. I think that's what he's talking about. We're going to get back to playing smash mouth football. We're going to play tough, hard-nosed, smart, disciplined football. We're going to work our asses off. And if you're not down with that, then don't bother showing up. Don't bother coming back. We'll look for a new home for you.
Is he safe at this point? I mean, we heard the report from Rick Stroud, the Tampa Bay Times, about a week ago that he's expected to come back. But have you heard anything that would suggest that it's a possibility he won't come back, that maybe the Bucs move in another direction? I know Byron Leftwich, in care of Scott Reynolds of Pewter Report, has said that the Bucs are looking to fire him. Of course, there's been no final decision, nothing official, but is Todd Bowles safe? And why do you think it's taking so long for them to fire Leftwich if it's going to happen?
Well, as far as Todd Bowles, I think he's completely safe. It's not really the Blazers' MO to give a coach one season, especially he was handicapped at the start of the season anyways by getting the keys turned over March 30th. He really, as we've repeatedly said, didn't get a chance to pick his roster, was kind of left with what he got. And kind of dealing with a team that's going into camp and going into with this kind of laid back attitude that he tried to correct. And, Bruce is still hovering around his golf card, etc. I don't think Bruce is back either, to be honest with you. I think that's a decision they'll make, and he'll go off to the lake and play golf. Still remains to be seen, and why Leftwich hasn't been fired yet. Really, there's a sense of urgency, but there's not a sense of urgency, if that makes sense. So Bowles said on Monday or Tuesday rather that he'd be meeting with all of his coaches and assistants at the end of the week, assessing and making decisions from there. I think it's just a formality at this point. We should be hearing news in the next day or so. But a lot of these guys who the Bucs would possibly consider as an offensive coordinator, should they go that route, are kind of waiting in the wings for potential head coaching jobs or at the college ranks. Todd Monken's been something that we brought up quite a bit over at Pewter Report, has ties to the Tampa area, was here before as a coach, still lives here, and obviously he's done some really special things with that Georgia offense, which is basically running back you in a run-first offense.
Wow.
He's been able to scheme guys, and you saw that in the championship game, and really adapt to current analytics is something that would be something that I think Bowles would be interested in. Also, someone who's got former head coaching experience. Bowles, as stated, he goes over the game plan. He's the guy who's got the ultimate say on game day, but he let Byron pretty much to his own devices this season, influenced when he wanted to and when he thought he should, and kind of left Byron on an island. And he's a defensive guy. He's not an offensive head coach. So Byron has questions. He's got to go to maybe Arians or just kind of figure it out on his own, which apparently and obviously he did not learn as his time as an offensive coordinator with the Buccaneers. But guys like Frank Wright, guys like Bill O'Brien, guys like maybe Jim Caldwell, guys who have been head coaches or offensive play callers, could just handle that and act like a second head coach. Kind of bring that style that he's looking for to establish and culture that he's looking for to his team.
I know Tom Brady's a free agent, but do you think he has some input in this decision? Whomever they hire, say a Bill O'Brien, because there was a report last year that they.
What about Monken?
Yeah, Todd Monken. Is it still? Do they believe? First, let's start out there. Do you believe that Tom Brady comes back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this juncture?
I believe if Brady comes back, it's for the Buccaneers and nobody else. Contrary to what Julian Edelman said, Brady's a businessman. He's going to go with the best place, gives him a chance to win. I still think that's Tampa. I know Josh McDaniels, the same thing with the Bill O'Brien to an extent. Those rumors are kind of going around. Could they be interested in Bill O'Brien to lure Brady back? Josh McDaniels has that Brady connection. They work together. If you believe reports from Gronk and Dana White that they were set to sign there, but Gruden nixed it. You have those situations with Las Vegas and
what about Miami?
The problem with Vegas is it's 5 hours away from Miami on a plane ride, and that's even on a private jet. The problem with San Francisco is he said he didn't like San Francisco anymore. I don't know why he'd want to go there. Obviously, his parents are there, his hometown, but I don't think they give up on Trey Lance that quickly, and that's a 6-hour flight from Miami, which brings me to Miami. But first, I'll skip over there and I'll fly back up to Tennessee. The Mike Vrabel relationship, I don't think they have the offensive line in place. They don't have the wide receivers in place. They don't have the defense in place. They just lost the division to the Jaguars. And I think Derrick Henry's getting older. So now we'll fly back down to Miami. Miami makes some sense. Because that's what Giselle will be. He's currently building a home, right down the canal from her, so the kids can boat back and forth from one each other's house when he finally retires and settles down. And that's proximity to his children, and that's something that he's always preached is about family. So Miami does make some sense, but are they really ready to move off from Tua? Does Brady want to go there? Does Brady want to have to deal with the whole drama of the tampering issue that came up, all those things? What does he feel about Mike McDaniels? He's a young kid, he's always willing to learn. Obviously, Byron's younger than him, and a lot of his offensive coordinators were the same age or older than him, so younger or older than him. So you look at that sense and it's like, does he want to go with a young kid? Does he want to be in the AFC East? Does he want to play the Patriots twice a year? Does he want to go through that racket and that drama? I don't know if he does. Does he want to be in a division that's on the cusp of being really strong? It was for most of the season this period. The Patriots just barely missed the playoffs. The Jets had a late season meltdown, but looked really strong at points when everyone was healthy. They just need a quarterback in place. And obviously you got the Bills. Does he want to play the AFC West next year, which includes the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, if they can figure that out, or the Broncos, if they can turn it around somehow? Now he's got
bringing up some valid points, man.
Yes,
on the way to a potential, if he's coming back, he's coming to win a Super Bowl, not make the playoffs and collect a check. That's never been his MO. Does Miami have the clearest path? I don't know. Tampa's still in the NFC South division. It's a 40-minute private jet plane ride, which on Davis Island is, his plane is right down there's an executive airport right down the street, so he can pick his kids up, still have them come back and forth. You can do that in a day trip. You can't do that anywhere else on the West Coast. So, I think that's a huge proximity. Okay, so there's going to be new offensive coordinator in here no matter what. So, he's going to have to potentially learn a new offensive system. So one thing you won't have to do is learn a new city, learn a new coaches, a new facility, new players, build that chemistry with a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who would probably come pretty quickly because they're really good players. But still, they have plenty of issues themselves with their offensive line and etc. Miami has all those issues, but Tampa has been home to him. He loves the organization. He knows the players. He's got chemistry. They had a down year. Injuries attributed to that a lot. I just think Tampa makes the most sense, or potentially retiring and taking that Fox job. I think he's going to make his decision based on potentially who's in here as offensive coordinator. That's going to be one selling point. I don't think he's going to have any influence over it at all. The only positive that really kind of would work with him, as I mentioned before, learning a new offense, if Bill O'Brien was here, that's a merge of what he likes to do and what Billy likes to do, and they've got experience and things to fall back on. Unlike Byron, who just had only experience with Bruce Arians as a quarterback in a system, as he kind of took on the behind-the-scenes coaching role, and then obviously as a coach. He doesn't have that experience. That's why I think Bulls will want someone who's been a head coach or has that experience, been around the league, been in different offensive types, had to adapt his ability, and I think that's ultimately who the best fit will be for this offensive coordinator job, because they can't get any worse than this year.
You're absolutely correct. Wrong with JC Allen up Pewter Report. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. If Tom decides to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Bill O'Brien say is the offensive coordinator, does that open up the door of the return of Rob Gronkowski, in your opinion?
I think the return of Rob Gronkowski is potentially imminent anyways. Took this year off, apparently tried to come back, reached out to the Bucs, said he was bored. They kind of laid out a plan, and that's not something he was on board for. So, I think his, a year off from football did him wonders last time. I think it could do him wonders again. I don't necessarily think it's a lock that he goes to Tampa, though. If he does play, he's always dreamed about playing for the Buffalo Bills. They're a very strong team right now. What could they use? Probably a potential Hall of Fame tight end.
Right.
It would also set up their timeline, too, of walking into the hall together, which I think would be really special. But, Gronk is Gronk, and he's just going to Gronk. So
that's it.
Could he come back? I think so, but I don't know if the circumstances are 100% Tampa or Buffalo's involved, or if he's just talking because he's bored. You never know.
Talk about the cap situation, because it seems like it's a mess. Of course, you've got all these contracts. You're kicking the can down the road. What's that situation? $42 million according to various sites, and then you have $35 million dead cap if Brady decides to retire. I mean, kind of break that down and see where the Bucs are, because all you hear about from Bucs fans is they're not going to have the cap. But with that being said, the Saints, the last, I guess, 4 to 5 years have had the same type of cap problems, and still they've been able to make an impact in free agency.
Right, yeah, and that's something the Bucs can do. There's multiple ways for them. It's actually $54 million over the cap due to some bottom of the roster guys in transactions. But they can get below the cap fairly easy, fairly quickly. There's, really 4 potential cut candidates. I think 2 of them are locks in Ryan Suckup and Cameron Brate. Donovan Smith and Leonard Fournette are questionable. Leonard Fournette, they can get out of his deal and save about $2 million in cap space. They'll save under $3.5 million in cap space, and they will save about $2 million in Brate. They'll save about $3.25 million in Suckup. And then if they do decide to move on from Donovan Smith, that would be about $10 million in cap savings. So I'm not sure about the last 2. Russell Gage is also a candidate. They'd save about $3 million towards the cap there. But that's kind of, not really sure about that one. I could see a world where he's still on this team. Brady's the big one. You mentioned the $35 million dead cap hit. I mean, there's really only 2 ways out of that. The first way would be that he does retire. They work out some sort of, reducement of his salary to, the veteran minimum. After June 1, they process the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
It would go from a charge of $35 million this year to $10 million this year. but it would push over $24 million into 2024. There's nothing you can do with that. So, that's one option. The other is he comes back. And they extend him and prorate some money down the road, kick the can a little bit, and they would save about $16 to $17 million off the cap there. So that's the most ideal situation, I think, because looking at the quarterback landscape, there's no way for this team to realistically trade for Derek Carr. Derek Carr's making about $32 or $33 million this year.
What if they cut him, JC?
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. Yeah, we were just talking to
But I
Mitchell Renz
think-
of Chat Sports, and he said there's certainly a possibility of them cutting him because something along the lines of February 15th.
He's owed $40 million.
$40 million if he's still on the roster. And if teams know that, if they know that is a deadline, what are they going to give for Carr in the first place? I mean, I'm a team out there. I'm playing chicken with the Raiders. Cut him.
Yeah, it's difficult because I think the Raiders will get something for him. I don't think they'll get anywhere near a first or second round pick. Their leverage has gone completely out the window with that. But I still think, a team that has cap space and needs a quarterback would be willing to take on $40 million on a reasonably easy contract to cut. I think that would be a possibility. The tricky thing is, though, I mean, if they try to trade for him, they'd have to have that 33 or 35 million, whatever it is.
Why haven't the Jets tried to make a move for him yet, JCA?
They'd have to. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Why haven't the Jets tried to make a move for Derek Carr?
I don't know. I think they're probably waiting like teams for the price to go down. I'm not sure their cap space situation. If they have the money to absorb, they might have to wait to talk to some guys and get some restructures. Yeah, they're negative $2 million under the cap right now.
And they're talking about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. Are you kidding me? I mean, is it going to be less money to have a Derek Carr?
Well, it would be less money, but they're going to make some moves and restructure. I don't think really the only teams that might be in a position to acquire him would be if the Falcons or the Giants wanted him. If they moved on from Daniel Jones, the Falcons just don't like Desmond Ridder. Texans look poised to draft a quarterback. I don't think that's in the cards for them. And the only other team is the Patriots or the Seahawks. Seahawks made it clear they're sticking with Geno Smith. Patriots, I don't think, moved for Mac, and they like Bailey Zappi as a developmental guy behind them. Bengals aren't moving on from Burrow. Bears probably aren't moving on from Fields. And, that's the teams that can afford him at this moment.
Yeah.
Now, teams will start the process the next couple of weeks of going through restructuring guys, open up, getting cap space ready, even into right up until the end of the beginning of March and the new league year. So, I mean, these are fluid situations right now, but no one can make a move for them other than those teams, and I don't think they would want to.
Really quick, I know you got to get out of here because you got things to do, of course, and we always got things to do here on the Sports Web, and got to get Harry out of here. Levante David, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Anthony Nelson, Mike Edwards, who was pitiful the other night, Akeem Hicks, Ryan Nassib, Jones, Golston. I mean, so many free agents. Who do you think more than likely out of this list is going to come back? And could there be a surprise here because Levante David is getting up there in age? I mean, could the Bucs just allow him to, look at
They can't do that.
Okay.
They can allow him to test the market. If that's something that he wants to do, but I don't think they can let him get away. He's too detrimental to this team. You don't have anyone on the roster, and you have other pressing needs that you could get that you're not going to be able to fulfill in free agency. I think you got to pay this man to come back for at least another year. You can kick the can down the road with his salary cap if you need to, and take hits, after the year or whatnot. But you need to find a way to keep this man. I know people get worried about kicking the can down the road, and
Sure.
The Saints have showed it's a sustainable business model that you can operate with it and add talent. And you're going to let talent go, but you're going to get compensatory picks. Then you're going to add talent from those guys. Or you're going to bring talent. Like, there's ways to do it. And we saw the Bucs wait until after the June 1st deadline to start signing guys and not having this forfeit compensatory picks, which I have a 5th coming from Jordan Whitehead and a 7th coming from OJ Howard. But there's teams the Bucs are going to be able to figure out really quick who they're going to be able to retain or whatnot. because agents are already talking to other teams, and it's frowned upon, but it happens.
Sure.
Jamel Dean is a guy who I think could eclipse what Charlton wants.
I gotta go.
I think it'd be a mistake letting him go, but I think he's going to price himself out. I think Sean Murphy-Bunting would like a fresh start somewhere. Levante David, like I said, has got to come back. Out of that list, there's Logan Ryan would be an attractive piece to come back. He performed really well when he was healthy. Was a playmaker, got everybody lined up. Mike Edwards, if the money's right, there's really not many pressing players that need to be back. You can do plenty of overhaul. I think Nacho would be nice to have back, but I think he gets a bigger contract. Just kind of looking over who the Bucs have as free agents, it's certainly going to be tough to bring everybody back. You got core special teamers I think you could bring back for cheaper, but
sure. All right. It's going to be a busy off season. JC, thanks a lot for your time. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Yeah, JC Allen on Twitter. Follow me there. JC Allen NFL. All my work's over at Pewter Report. Catch our pods 4 days a week, and it's always a blast on here, Peter. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great stuff as always. JC Allen of Pewter Report. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web. All right, my friend.
See you later.
All right, good stuff here. Let's go ahead and get out to Harry the Greek because you got to run. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend.
You can catch me right here Mondays and Wednesdays. This Friday night, you can catch us on 12. Friday night, 12:52 Sports. You're going to get the hottest picks on the over/under with myself, Andrew Davis, and of course, Mr. Tampa Bay Ray, which he's going to come on, and Peter Blake. We're going to have a really good time.
He's going to come on.
Of course he is.
Okay. All right. I sent him a link tonight if he wanted to come on, but he had other things to do. I understand Ray Kennedy. He did comment. Good stuff, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago.
Interesting interviews today.
Thank you. That's what we try to do here on the Sports Web, and we're going to continue to do that. Not only throughout the season here in this off season, but tonight we got some interesting guys coming on with Turnbuckle Talk, Wrestling Talk. I know you want to talk about that, right? No, you don't. You don't.
Bye.
See you later, right there, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. I've been neglecting you guys with the comments. I'll get out to the comments, and then I'll get out to my guys here. I'll ask them about the Bucs. You have to be patient with me. A lot of things going on, and I'm trying to do it all myself at the end of the day. So let's go out to these comments and read them as always. Roger says, what is the name of Harry's theme song? Where can I get it? Look for YouTube, Greek, uncopyrighted music. Buccaneers were a flawed team. Agree. Joseph again, Buccaneers barely made it into the playoffs. Carl says Cowboys are done next week. More than likely they are versus the San Francisco 49ers. Cowboys are better than the 49ers. We shall see. Sega Saturn was big since Dallas won. That's right. The last time they won a home game besides Monday night was 1992. And the Bucs gave them that road win.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Yeah, congratulations. Thanks. Buccaneers were bad all year long. Pretty inconsistent. Is Kelsey saying anything new? She's not. But she's basically saying a lot of the things that we've talked about here on the Sports Web. But she's giving you an outsider's perspective, right? She's not a Bucs fan. She's not grown up being a Bucs fan, but she's seeing what's going on with this team. And she's telling you that. TB12 has no heart. I'm not ready to say he has no heart. I think he's been going through things off the field. Did it affect his play on the field? I definitely think it did. And also, again, Father Time is undefeated. And not having the best offensive line is not a good thing. Not having a running game, not being balanced. This is what you get.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Exactly, Tom. Let's see here. Kelsey's definitely bringing a good perspective on Brady tonight. Absolutely. Roger says, can I watch Kelsey instead of the Sports Web? You can watch this.
Shitter!
You can watch this.
This guy sucks.
You can definitely watch this.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Tom is just vibing. Mike again. Harry is so handsome. I don't know what that's all about, Mike. Sandra Nagel, future agent, beautiful mother, says watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web. And 1252 Chicago Sports. Wow, she's just promoting everything. It's kind of like she knows what she's doing, right? And KNN, so lovely, beautiful lady too, like Peter also, but a female version. Well, thank you very much, Mom. I appreciate that. I don't think anybody on this platform sees me as a female version of or a male or her. I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point. I'm just tongue-tied. I don't think anybody, when they look at me, sees her, okay? No. Not even close. Maybe knowledge-wise, but yeah, no. Ryan Griffin, new offensive coordinator. He knows that offense more. 9 years clipboard.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I got to give you the Peter Griffin there. I don't know what you're saying, Corey. You're trolling me at this point. Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the NFC South. Wide open again. We shall see who the quarterback is. Lots of changes. Kelsey, KNN. Thanks so much for having me. Had a blast. Continue prayers up for Russell Gage's full recovery. Of course, he suffered a concussion. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. Corey says Tom Brady plays until he's 50. He may. Carl says for Brady, if he plays next year, he should go to Miami. We shall see. Corey again, Tom Brady to the Cardinals. Now that's nonsense.
This guy sucks.
Oh, look at this. Troy Polamalu here. I was stuck watching a movie. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it.
Shitter!
Corey says Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman. What chick flick were you watching? Troy, well, football season's over. See you in the preseason, Peter. No more sports web, and you get that.
That's good enough to suck right there!
Because you know that's completely false. You know it's completely false. How many years have you watched the show here, Troll? How many years? Raiders play the AFC East. Well, they play the AFC West. And the NFC North, they play the AFC East and NFC North in 2023. That and the Chiefs, Bosa, Chargers twice, and that Denver defense, which is really all Denver at this point. Ray, again, I'm sure Brady's old ass is jumping for a chance to face that schedule. Troy again, some movie. Troy again, what's Scotty Miller doing on the show? Can you tell him to learn how to catch the ball? And for that, you get this.
This guy sucks.
Because you know that wasn't Scotty Miller. You're an idiot for saying that. Troy says, I feel bad for any quarterback playing under that statue. Todd Bowles. Sitton says, what happened to the offense? Who knows what happened to this offense? I mean, that has been a mystery. The first 2 years, you're scoring 30 points a game consistently, not having any problems in the red zone. And then all of a sudden, you're 18 points a game. It's not going to get it done. Let's see here. Peter wants Tua as the Bucs' next quarterback. That's live.
That's good enough to suck right there!
I mean, Troy, you're really bringing it tonight. You really are. You're bringing lots of... Ray, Derek Carr is a gamer, but he's not a guy who you have to break the bank or bend the cap. Ray, again, I'm ready for another solid piece or two to the offensive line. Kyle Trask could take his lumps. I heard Derek Carr and Devontae Adams even shared the same underwear.
This guy sucks.
Ray Kennedy, fix the cap. Utilize Wirfs, Jensen, Barrett, Devin, Vea. Get a run game with Monken at OC and even draft Stetson Bennett in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't know about that, but I guess that's a pretty good idea.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. Roger says they choose some piece of gum. Troy is laughing for some reason. Christopher Cole, OCs have to know how to marriage the run and pass game together. Good comment as always.
Flawless victory.
Christopher. Brady belongs in the XFL on the 60-yard football field.
This guy sucks.
Troy again. Bye, Scotty Miller. Thank you for your insights.
That's good enough to suck right there!
Troy again. Peter said he wants some tats, prison style, and a bandana on his head. That's actually pretty funny. I'll agree with that.
Flawless victory.
I don't know why. I hate you. I really do.
This guy sucks.
I'm from Chicago. What's a meemaw? What's a meemaw? It's a grandma, you idiots. What is wrong with you people?
Shitter!
Meemaw is grandma. The Greek language in Greece, they also say weepa. Okay, well, we'll give you that one.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you for defending me. No, Troy, it's Greek. It's yaya. Okay. Bills by $1 billion.
Oh, yeah!
Roger again. Peter going to hell for eating steak. Well done. That's a sin. Medium rare is the only way to go. Says who? You? No.
This guy sucks.
I eat steak the way I want to eat steak, okay? It's my show. I do what I want. So you shut up.
Shitter!
Peter likes his steak raw. Lies.
This guy sucks.
Roger says I knew you were going to say something along the lines of that.
Shitter!
Bunch of freaking clowns here. Toilet Bowls gets one more year and another 8 or 9 or worse. Bye-bye. Agree with that. Good comment.
Yeah!
Ray says a leopard doesn't change its spots. Good call, Harry. Roger again. R.I.P. Jay Briscoe. Dim Boys. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Hang on, guys. Trying to read all these comments. Why do you respect Harry? Carl says, just imagine Burrow was our quarterback this year. Where would we be? That's a great comment. Of course, a lot of teams out there want Joe Burrow being the young quarterback and with the weapons he has with Cincinnati. But could you imagine him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Although, once again, with that offensive line, most likely he would have been injured by now. That's how bad they were. Ray says, Carl Hardy, in this offense, we be at the hospital delivering flowers to Burrow. Very good.
Oh, yeah!
Roger says, shut up, Alexander.
Acknowledge me!
Christopher says that INT killed the Mo. Agree.
Oh, yeah!
Carl says, laugh out loud. Ray, JC Allen, rock star in the house.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah!
LaMarcus, cut ties with Tom Brady. Like, seriously, we'll see what happens because according to various sports, he's going to the Raiders. The Bucs still want him. Tennessee. All kinds of rumors, all kinds of speculation on the sports web. Get ready for it here in the next couple weeks and months. So we'll see what happens, LaMarcus. The more time Tom has to throw, the more pressure is on him. The less he has to throw, the more consistent he is because the run game opens up the pass game. It was the same thing with the Patriots. Agree. Great comment.
Flawless victory.
That's why we continue to say you got to be a balanced team. That's why Tom continues to say in press conferences, we got to be a balanced team. Being a balanced team is not throwing the ball 66 freaking times. That's not balance. That's insanity. 66-12? Really? Come on. Who's calling the plays? Oh, it's Byron Leftwich. He may be fired here pretty soon. Yes. If we lose Bulls defense, then we might as well hire Richard Williamson. Not the way that defense played the other night. I don't know about that. The team fired Dungy and traded for Gruden, but they still had Uncle Monty to run the defense. Ray again. Without Kiffin in 2002, the Bucs would have not won their first championship. Ray again. Munkin was the Bucs offensive coordinator under Cutter. He has been here, would hopefully want to come back. No team is interested in Levante David. He's been a ghost since the Super Bowl.
This guy sucks.
Christopher says cap goes up every year. That it does. Troy, you guys say catch Mondays, Wednesdays, Sundays, but when the day of the game comes on, you guys are stuck sleeping in bed.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Lies. Jesse says when Brady retires, I'll become a Bucs fan again. Well, what do you have against Brady, Jesse? Thanks a lot for tuning in.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'll give you that because you're an old friend. I think what Mom was trying to say is that she wanted a daughter, Peter. Well, you had to mention that, didn't you? Didn't you, Troy? You're a jerk.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Baker Mayfield, maybe available. That's certainly a possibility. I don't necessarily think so. He may be in the future plans there, Ralph, bodyguard of the bird, which we're going to go to in a moment after I take a commercial break. I think he's in the Rams' future plans, but we'll see. Harold Goodwin would make good replacement. Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator. Not sure about that. And Bucs are interested in Brian Hoyer, Brandon Whedon, and Brandon Schwab.
This guy sucks.
Ben, don't wish nothing bad on Leftwich, but we definitely need a shakeup. Good comment as always.
Oh, yeah.
Troy, it was a joke, bro. My bad. It's okay. I love the jokes here. I'll give you that.
Flawless victory.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have Turnbuckle Talk. We'll also get some national perspective on the playoffs this weekend on the evolution of sports talk television. Keep it locked.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Of course, this segment brought to you by Spring Hill Trailer and Equipment Repairs. They repair all types of trailers. Give them a call at, once again, 985-570-7269. Again, 985-570-7269. That's Spring Hill Trailer and Equipment Repairs. And once again, uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb if you're wagering on the National Football League, the NBA, the NHL, college basketball in full bloom. Go there, uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb. So with all those advertisements out of the way, all the commercials out of the way, let's get out to the guys here patiently waiting. We're supposed to have them on at 10:30, but it's been such a great night of guests here, such a great night of content with football knowledge going all around the NFL, speculation with Tom Brady, former XPW announcer of Mancini Media now, and XM Sirius radio host, Mr. Mark Mancini, and of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Mr. Ralph Williams. Welcome, guys, to the evolution. Lots of stuff to talk about, but let's start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. From Tom Brady's comments at the end of that press conference, do you sense that he's done with Tampa Bay and done with football? Welcome to the evolution, Mark.
Well, first of all, this is the show that's sweeping Wednesdays across the state of Florida. We love it.
Thank you.
I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. And I don't know if Sandra Nagel is related to that pitcher that used to Danny Nagel.
She's not. That's my mother. That's my mother, brother. That's my mother. That's my future agent.
I wanted to get that out in the, and I will tell you, Kelsey Nicole Nelson is a great lady. All we needed is to get the Redskins in this thing, and we'd have all four teams from the same division battling for the playoffs, but 3 of the 4 are okay. I will tell you this. I want to thank Tampa Bay because I think by the weekend, Byron Leftwich will be our offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. Thank you very much for G-Man Choi. We will take anything.
Well, you can take Byron Leftwich. There's a lot of fans out there that would take Byron Leftwich. Get ready for running on first down and getting 2 yards in a cloud of dust. Bucs fans right now have champagne. They're popping corks. If Leftwich ends up with the Washington Commanders, I got to correct it because he said Redskins again. Commanders. Ralph, your thoughts on Tom Brady coming back? Is he going to come back? Is he going to retire? What should he do? I know you've been very critical of Mr. Brady. What do you see is going to happen here in this NFL offseason?
Well, as it was mentioned earlier, he's a businessman. He's going to do what's right for his business and, what he wants to do. He doesn't seem to care about his family, so he might as well just move on to his money, his business. So, but he'll do what's best for him. Also, Byron Leftwich probably will not be coming to Pittsburgh. If he does, he'll be pass game coordinator or something because it was announced sadly today that Matt Canada is not being fired as our offensive coordinator. So that was a sad news today. Other than the fact that mediocre Mike is
Canada.
Yeah, exactly. You know what you can do with that, don't you? But anyway,
let me clarify some things here, man, because 2 years ago I announced on XM Sirius that the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence would get to the Super Bowl before we saw Patrick Mahomes in that barbecue city back in it. And I'm telling you right now, that float is taking on a lot of water. A lot of people are getting on that Jacksonville Jags wagon. Get the hell off it, man. It's going to go through Kansas City. Enjoy the food and take out the chefs.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, he's the world's worst handicapper.
Yeah.
He admitted this on this show. What do you think about these playoff matchups? Playoffs! Jacksonville and Kansas City. Jacksonville has a chance for the upset here. How do you see Bills in Cincinnati, San Francisco, and the Dallas Cowboys, and, of course, the Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles, Madman?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Staying on the AFC side of things, that Bengals with Joe Cool, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, the Buffalo Bills got a lot to play for. I love that Bills Mafia. I like Diggs. I always said, if I'm going to travel back east, I'm not getting southwest. Hell, you'll be waiting at the airport for days. I'm hopping on Josh Allen's football to take me across the country and back. And let me tell you, with Hamlin being a big influence there, the Bills will succeed. Jacksonville will then go into Buffalo. On the other side of things, this is not Brock Lesnar. This is Brock Purdy. If they had the Italian serving the lasagna, Jimmy Garoppolo, I'd get on that wagon. But as much as I hate to say, I got the Cry Boys in this one.
Wow!
The Cry Boys will go into the city of Philadelphia. And I know doing shows with different girls out in New York with Daniel Orsino and Nikki Gist are big Giant fans, but doing a show out of Philadelphia, I got to side with the Eagles. It'll be the boys and the Eagles come the NFC Championship, my friend. Eagles and Bills in the Super Bowl, baby.
All right, there you go. Ralph, how do you see this playoff picture working out? Playoffs?
Well, you never know. Doug Peterson might just beat his old boss. He coached under Andy Reid, and like Mark said, Jacksonville could do it. But you know what? It could. Kansas City could move on. We're going to find out what happens. It could be Kansas City and Cincinnati or Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. My prediction for the Super Bowl is going to be Philadelphia and Buffalo. I think that's the way I see it.
Well, you see it there you go right there. The bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's forgotten son. With that being said, let's get into it, guys, with Turnbuckle Talk. Some sad news to report. Last night, Jay Briscoe at 38 years old was killed in a car collision that took place in Laurel, Delaware on Tuesday at around 5:30 p.m. A report from the Shore News Beacon states that 2 people were killed in the crash and 2 others were transported to the hospital in critical condition. Briscoe's 2 daughters, ages 9 and 12, were wearing their seatbelts and were taken to the hospital. Briscoe's wife, Ashley Pugh, wrote an update on social media that the daughter, Gracie, was having surgery on her back and asked for people to pray for her precious legs to move again. Their other daughter, Jay Lee, has some pretty serious injuries, but is in stable condition, according to her mother. Of course, this came out and was announced by Tony Khan of AEW. He says, sadly, Jamin Pugh has passed away, known to fans as Jay Briscoe. He was a star in Ring of Honor for over 20 years. From the first show until today, Jay and his brother Mark dominated Ring of Honor, reigning as champions to this day. We'll do whatever we can to support the family. Also with Briscoe, after starting his in-ring career as a teenager, Briscoe made his name in pro wrestling while teaming with his brother Mark in Ring of Honor. During those 20-plus years, they were with the promotion. The Briscoes held the Ring of Honor tag team titles 13 times. They had just won the titles at Ring of Honor Final Battle last month, defeating FTR and what was widely considered one of the best matches of 2022. It capped off a trilogy of matches between the teams that took place last year. I've been in tears since I heard the news, says FTR's Cash Willer, as he tweeted out, I just don't have the words. Rest in peace, Jay. Your thoughts, Mark? Jay Briscoe, 38 years old, gone.
Yeah, that's sad. I've always been, when I look at speed and it's all over the place as far as people driving, man, oh man, I think you need to give more tickets out or something to slow these things down. I mean, all we see is people get killed and we put up more traffic lights, but if we're not enforcing these things to slow these people down, they'll just go 100 miles an hour down the roads and everybody thinks they're part of Fast and Furious Part 10.
Yeah, it's a scary situation, very sad situation. Young age, a very talented wrestler. Would have been nice to see these guys, in WWE, but it is what it is. Even WWE recognized him during a broadcast of NXT, which is classy in itself. Ralph, what do you think of the passing of Jay Briscoe?
Well, I'm saddened by it, Peter. I used to work security for a company at our venue here called Stage AE, where ROH used to do tapings twice a year. I met Jay and Mark Briscoe. I met them personally, and it hits me hard because I met everybody from ROH when they were, Cody Rhodes. I met the Young Bucks. I met all these guys. The villain. It's sad to see this guy who has been so successful with his brother, and how many tag team belts they won, not just in ROH, but across the world. I mean, New Japan, AAA, and some of these other wrestling organizations that they won belts in, Impact Wrestling. I mean, they've been everywhere. And now they just, like you mentioned, beat FTR in the ROH final battle last month, or, at the end of the year. And they were ready to get going because Tony Khan is getting ready to redo ROH. He's getting ready to put it back out on TV the way it was before, or do some other things with it or whatever, separate from AEW. And he was looking for them to carry them into that. Tony Khan, it's a sad thing. My condolences and prayers to the family. It's heartbreaking.
It is. Briscoe also had success as a singles wrestler, holding the Ring of Honor World Championship twice. He and Mark were the first wrestlers inducted into the Ring of Honor, launched its Hall of Fame in 2022. Impact Wrestling, who he also performed for, is deeply saddened to learn of the passing of Jay Briscoe. Jay will always be remembered as a trailblazer who, with his brother Mark, left it in the ring every night. We send our sincere condolences to the family, who he loved beyond words, as well as his friends and fans. According to Delaware State Police, Briscoe's pickup truck was struck head-on by the driver of another pickup truck who had crossed the center line. It's unclear why the other driver crossed that line. The driver of the second truck was later identified as 27-year-old Lillian Turnhan, and she and Briscoe were both pronounced dead at the scene. Briscoe was not wearing a seatbelt.
Wow.
Sad stuff there in the state of professional wrestling. Now, with that being said, I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines, because I think Curtis has something to say on our Turnbuckle Talk, or you can talk some Buccaneers. You never know. We'll go out to him. Mr. Curtis, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, and, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Mr. Ralph Williams. Go.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good, buddy. Speak just a little bit, if you can.
Oh, okay, I got you on my headset.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Anyway, I was listening to what you guys were saying about the Briscoe kid.
Yeah.
And it's very sad. It is. It's I want to comment about what you said about people and their driving. The one thing besides speeding tickets, people on their cell phones while they're driving.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's hands free. It doesn't matter if it's you got the phone in your ear. When things are going on around you, you can't pay attention to everything that's going on around you if you're paying attention to a phone call.
Correct.
Especially if it's let's say it's an emotional phone call. You know what I'm saying? Somebody calls you and gives you some bad news, and you have it on speakerphone, and you're too involved in what somebody's telling you over the phone instead of paying attention to what's going on around you while you're driving.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's very sad, and my heart goes out to that family, man, because he's a young dude, man, like
38 years old, man, and a guy that's look, he had a lot of success in Ring of Honor. He's about to have some more success there, I think, with transitioning over to AEW, and certainly a possibility down the road, because there's always that possibility with talented individuals to get over to the big time, and that's everybody's goal as a professional wrestler at WWE.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to him, and and for me, can you hear me, Pete?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you.
For me, it goes out because I'm 30. I'll be 37 in like 2 weeks.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
My brother my oldest brother died in 2002 in a car crash. And, it was like when cell phones first came out and, people had prepaid phone with prepaid minutes and stuff like that. And, it's pretty much the same situation. Somebody came over the median.
Sure.
And they ran in my brother head first. And, he was in an Acura Legend, which is, a really small car. You know what I'm saying? And the car flipped a couple times. And, for me, I was very emotional because when I found out, I was like 16 at the time. What I found out was my brother had a friend in the car. And the friend got out the car and left my brother there.
Wow.
And for a long time, I had a really, really I'm gonna go back to your fast 10 comment.
Yeah.
I was Dominic Toretto. I wanted to take that socket wrench and beat that guy to death with.
Sure.
I did.
Sure.
And, it's just this world we live in is a really crazy world.
It is. It's crazy, and life is precious, and we take it for granted sometimes, and we shouldn't.
For tragic things that happen like that, it's
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of being on my cell phone, and I had to learn the hard way, and I'll never do it again.
We all are.
Right.
We all are. I'm gonna tell you the dumbest thing I did the other day. I was walking somewhere, and I was literally on my phone with my head down, paying attention to the phone instead of paying attention to the street.
Right.
We're all guilty of it.
Just say you were watching my show, and it's acceptable here.
Yeah. It happens.
There you go. See? Right there. All right. Good stuff, Curtis. What else?
Curtis is a great guy, man.
He is, man.
So I just got off work. I literally just got off work.
Yes.
And I've been listening. Did Leftwich get fired today?
He did not. It is nothing official yet. We just heard from the great J.C. Allen of Pewter Report, who is saying that it's, again, this comes from Scott Reynolds of Pewter Report, who was on the Pat McAfee show just yesterday. Saying that he's going to be fired any day now. So when that happens, we'll get you live here. We'll get a reaction here on the Sports Web, but nothing official yet.
Why don't we fire the coach in LA in Tampa instead of throwing offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators? Brandon Staley should have walked back from Jacksonville.
I agree. I don't know how Brandon Staley still has a job. He must have naked pictures.
What's he got on that front office?
He's
man?
like
What
Jeff
the
Fisher.
hell's he got on that front office?
Continue to get a job in the National Football League unless you got pictures of somebody. Honestly.
Oh my God.
And I understand 100% where you guys are coming from. I'm going to tell you what the excuse is for that team. That team is never fully healthy. Ever.
True.
That team is never, ever fully
And you know why? Because Brandon Staley decided 2 weeks before a playoff game or 1 week before a playoff game, let's play Mike Williams because we're going to play Mike Williams and get him his reps. He's been hurt all year.
Yeah, but look at the situation in Seattle and Pittsburgh. They went through injuries. Pittsburgh almost got in the playoffs. Seattle was penciled in to win 5 games. Injuries are not. They're part of the game.
Yeah.
And look what Pete Carroll did with the Seahawks, and we've got excuses in Miami and all these other cities.
He is a terrible coach. He has no business being in the NFL.
The other thing I've been hearing a lot of people say is, what do you expect when you're in the same division as Patrick Mahomes?
Right.
I mean, Kansas City. What is their road record in that division? It's ridiculous.
It is, and they win games.
They don't lose.
They don't lose.
Sorbo is going in there. Trevor Lawrence is going in there, man, and he's going to do some damage.
Well, I was listening to you guys.
Yeah.
I had to put my headphones in because I didn't want to get yelled at by my wife. So I had to put my headphones in.
Well, let me paraphrase this. This man has admitted on this show he's the world's worst handicapper. So if your guys are going to bet at uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb, be careful taking this man's advice. Just saying.
I'm gonna say this.
Yes.
I don't bet on NFL anymore because it is so freaking unpredictable. because nobody expected Jacksonville to come back from 27-0 and to win. Trevor Lawrence looked like Brett Favre. He looked like Brett Favre in the first half.
He did. He looked terrible. He looked like Jameis Winston throwing turnovers out there. It was terrible. I couldn't.
But listen,
yes,
I too myself, I like Jacksonville to beat Kansas City. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it.
I gotta give props to Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports, because he came on the over-under on 1252 Chicago Sports and said Jacksonville could be the Cincinnati Bengals of last year. And who knows? They're that close. I don't think it's going to happen. But again, National Football League, NFL means no friggin' logic at the end of the day, Curtis. So
I'm going to say this. I heard the comment about Dallas beating San Fran. I like that, but I'm going to tell you something. The one thing San Fran is going to do is what the Bucs didn't do, was get pressure on Dak.
Correct.
And when Dak has pressure, we all see what he does.
Correct. He's throwing turnovers. He's throwing interceptions. He's tied with Davis Mills for the most interceptions in the league, and he missed 5 games. I expect that to happen this weekend. Good stuff, Curtis. Thanks a lot for the call. Let me give you the Macho Man.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I got one more thing.
One more thing. Yes.
Cody Rhodes is going to win the Royal Rumble.
All right, let's talk about that real quick. Why do you think Cody Rhodes, and I agree with you, I think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. I think he should win the Royal Rumble. He's the most over superstar. Guys, it's a great storyline.
It's a perfect storyline.
It's perfect.
It's a perfect storyline.
Yes.
Because, okay, think about it. Before he got hurt, he had these epic battles with Seth Rollins.
Correct.
Seth Rollins is a top-tier star in the WWE.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure if he wouldn't have got hurt, he probably would have already had a title shot.
Agree. He probably would have had the title already. In fact, that's the way you're going to put him over. And if you want to exit Roman Reigns to Hollywood, that's how you do it. You have a Hollywood type of ending there with Cody Rhodes going over on him, the American Nightmare, who, by the way, his father, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, never won, which is sacrilege. How is that possible? He never won a WWE or WWF title.
Well, Sheamus never won the Intercontinental belt.
Right. But Dusty Rhodes here.
Yeah.
Who never won the Intercontinental title?
Sheamus? He never won it.
He's never won the Intercontinental title.
No, he hasn't.
Okay. Well, Dusty never won a championship in WWE. So what better than to have Cody?
Here was the bad thing about Dusty. My grandmother was the biggest Dusty Rhodes fan in the world.
Right.
She loved that guy.
And I want to tell you something, Curtis, and guys out there, you know this all too well. Wrestling here was a hotbed because at the time it was Saturday night on WTOG Channel 44. It was Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley. And the first match I ever saw was 1988 at the St. Pete Bayfront Center, and it was Dusty Rhodes versus the Nature Boy, the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. And it was probably one of the greatest matches I've ever seen.
It has some classic battles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that because that was one of my points. One reason Dusty Rhodes was never going to win that heavyweight title is because the Four Horsemen, those were his enemy.
Well, that was that was NWA, back then. That was NWA. That was
WCW too.
CW, yeah. I mean, I can't believe he never made it. He was so loyal to those organizations and never made it over. I just can't believe that.
Wow.
But what a great story.
WCW Starrcade, baby.
Yep. Yes.
Who else?
Yes.
What was it? Jake the Snake never won a title ever.
Never. And you know why? Because the Ultimate Warrior didn't want to do the job. And he tried to Hulk up and be the next Hulk Hogan and basically was told sent home. And he was supposed to have a program with the Ultimate Warrior. And Warrior back then was putting all these demands out. And basically Vince told him pound sand.
Here's the crazy thing. Everybody knows who Jake the Snake is. Everybody knows who this guy is.
The guy is the most underrated wrestler out there ever. I would love to get him on the show because not only was he great on the mic, and he had his own personal demons, off the mat, which was been documented. But yes.
Don't we all?
I think we all do, but especially in the wrestling business and as a kid growing up in those 90s.
We know Peter's demons is chicken wings.
Oh, that's definitely a demon. Gotta stop being a demon. I'm eating too many chicken wings. I'm gonna start turning into a chicken wing. Great stuff, Curtis. Let me go ahead and give you the Ric Flair. Woo! Appreciate the call. Use the second call anytime, my friend. All right. All right. Good stuff there, man.
Yeah, that's a good pick on Rhodes, but you know what? Keep your eyes on Karrion Kross, Bray Wyatt. These guys can.
You just want to see Scarlett with the intro. All right.
That was great. That was great. They laid out Mysterio the other night.
Mysterio.
Finally, Dominic. These guys. Mysterio.
By the way, that's a joke. I mean, that's become a joke now. I mean, Dominic, he spent like 2 days in the county jail or one night in the county jail, and he's talking about prison. He's coming out like a vato.
The judgment day will go by the wayside. They are not taking belts from the bloodline.
It's a joke. It's a joke to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. They're trying to get him over, but it's detrimental.
Once Rhea Ripley leaves that federation with those clowns, it's over with. Those three going to find jobs somewhere.
Good stuff. All right. With that being said, of course, Vince McMahon is coming back in the power. God. According to the Bill Simmons podcast, WWE CEO Nick Khan was asked if McMahon was planning a return to television or storylines as we gear up for WrestleMania 39. And Khan had this to say: not at this moment. No. See how he said that? It's not at this moment, but I mean, I love how people do that. Not at this moment. No is the answer to that question. Wow. Could it change in a few months? Sure, it could change, but that would be Paul Levesque and Vince being on the same page about it. I don't see it right now. To me, Vince is Vince. And if he is involved in creative, that's when the business goes down. It is passed him by. Vince did a lot of great things for the business, but it is a complete PR nightmare and a show if he comes back, because it's all the allegations out there. It's just a PR nightmare for WWE. Mark, how do you feel about this?
Well, I agree. I look at Vince McMahon news as I look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it gets crazier by the day. They just keep on coming. Every time we think we're getting rid of these guys, they keep finding their way back. But it's pretty interesting with the road to WrestleMania now beginning, and we're only a few months away from WrestleMania. It's Amazing. In Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I'll be there, but it's crazy how Vince tries to finagle his way back into this thing with the mega event coming up now. I mean, it's interesting, but he needs to step away and let his son-in-law run this thing, or turn this thing over to the Saudis, or get it over to Fox. You got to do something, because this thing's been going on too long, and people are getting tired of it.
They are getting tired of it, Ralph. I mean, what do you think about the comments from Khan saying not right now, but there's certainly a possibility? To me, you're kind of foreshadowing at the end of the day of him going back and doing something with creative, and that would just ruin the plans of what Triple H has basically set the table for here.
Yeah, I think it would, guys. But here's the thing. I've said this many times. It don't matter what kind of content you put out there. There's going to be people going to these events, spending money, they're buying their kids merchandise, regardless of what happens. The sad part about it is folks like Peter, Mark, and myself, we see it in a different way. We look at content, we look at different things, because we've been around this business a long time. And also on top of all that, I mean, I've never been a wrestler as a fan and as a loyal follower since I was 5 years old of wrestling. Okay. I followed it forever. Okay. We see it in a different way, but there's people who don't see it like that. All right. They're like, hey, I don't care what kind of product it is. As long as little Johnny, little Susie, little Mikey's happy, it doesn't make any difference what kind of product you put out there, because they're going to buy tickets. I mean, it's insane. $700 for a ringside seat for a ticket for a Raw. For us, that's insane. But for some people, that's not insane.
That's not insane. I tell you what, let's go back out to the phone lines here on Turnbuckle Talk on the Sports Web. Curtis, you're on with yours truly, along with the Madman, Mark Mancini, and of course, Mr. Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the bird. What do you have to say, my friend?
Yeah, I definitely got to call back. Listen, I agree with you guys so much.
Okay.
The content has been. Listen, I don't even like to watch Raw anymore. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It was bad the other night. There was no energy to it at all.
Raw has gotten so dry.
Ugh.
I literally go look for anything else to watch on Monday nights now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, once football goes away, you'll be able to. I mean, I got to do a show on Monday nights, but man, I tell you, I've tried to tune in. And
this Vince McMahon thing. I mean, what are we really going to do? I mean, he's either he's going to come back or he's not. I mean, and I kind of look at it as like, and I know this is a sore subject for some people. I look at the Dana White situation right now.
Yeah.
It's the same freaking thing.
Yep. He's gonna apologize, but he's the owner of UFC, and nobody's gonna be able to force him out. It's the same thing with Vince. That's why his daughter walked away, and that's why, he ousted people that were close to the business to get his own cronies in there to take over. I get it. I understand it. It's what Vince did. He pulled a power play, and it's worked out for him. I hope he doesn't sell it to the Saudis. I hope he sells it to somebody that cares about the business and wants to do right by it for the future of wrestling fans like ourselves.
I don't know if you guys have been watching Young Rock on
Love it.
Fox.
Absolutely. Sure.
I have, and it's showing us some behind the scenes things for people who aren't real wrestling fans. Like,
yep,
there was some shenanigans going on in the WWE at one point in time.
Well, there absolutely was. Of course, during the Attitude Era, of course there was. I mean, that was the Wild Wild West. Some of that stuff that you hear about today, you could not get away with. Now, I mean, some of the stuff went on back then. No way. No.
Yeah, but back then they had WCW crawling up their butt. They had to come up with another format.
Good point.
That's why they went with the Attitude Era.
Absolutely. And I had completely forgot about the Chad Frost character.
Yep.
Forgot about it.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
So listen, I respect Vince. Vince took this thing and he made it a global sensation.
Correct.
And the WWE will always be the WWE. But if you're giving us a turd every week, I mean, a turd is a turd.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, he was going to cut it back to 2 hours, and now Monday night Raw turns 30. They're out of Philadelphia. This should be interesting. I mean, there's a slew of characters coming on this show, I hear.
Well, yeah, there's going to be the Undertaker there. Possibly Rick Flair.
Shawn Michaels.
I mean, you've seen
Stone Cold Steve Austin and many more.
You would think.
The one thing that's been bothering me is I get tired of seeing the legends come back just to get beat up.
Correct.
Really, like, you know what I'm saying? Goldberg, I don't want to see him in any more matches. No,
Goldberg's done. He's done.
I don't want to see him in any more matches. Leave him.
He's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, listen, I grew up watching wrestling. I will always be a wrestling fan.
Sure.
Because I respect those guys' grind and their hustle. But people watch wrestling because they want a good show.
Correct.
We don't want to see male modeling and all that other crap.
No, we don't want to see any of that crap.
You don't want to see Rick the Model Martel?
Well, I'll tell you right now, he had a little run there in WWE.
Yeah, with the arrogance,
Yes,
you don't want to see that?
WCW. Yeah.
They might as well bring Fandango back, right?
Oh God.
Oh, Fandango.
Let's
Fandango was a poor imitation.
Let's bring back Billy and
Hey,
Chuck.
Tyler Breeze is still around. Breezango. Remember that thing?
God.
Yeah.
Can we bring Santino and the Cobra? At least I got,
Well, he showed up in Impact the other night. Now, believe this, Santino, and he has, I believe,
Yeah, he's in charge of authority. He's king of authority or whatever.
Impact Wrestling, he's in charge.
Yeah.
If anybody watches Impact, I mean, I try to watch everything out there, and it's crazy.
But listen, I love wrestling. I'm a promo guy. I will always love promos.
Sure.
You give me a guy with a great promo, and he might not be the greatest wrestling, but he can cut a promo.
That's it.
Like, I'll give you an example. Me and my son laugh at it all the time. What was that guy's name? Enzo Amore or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yes. That guy used to have me on the floor.
Yes.
Every time I seen him.
And it's a shame of what happened to him. I get it. He put himself in a situation, but they were just allegations. Nothing was concrete, and they got rid of him, and he's done, blacklisted out of wrestling. I mean, I think eventually he'll make his way, but
He's with MLW up here.
is he? Okay. Well, then
Yes.
he can make his way back. Who knows? But
Keep your eyes on that Rumble. I know you guys are all high on Rhodes. I'm going to roll with Randy Orton to win this thing.
well, even Ric Flair mentioned that a couple of months ago, and we talked about this on the show. Why not give it to Randy Orton because he's the best worker? But is he healthy?
Where's my boy at? Is he injured? What is his name?
Who? Which one?
Randy Orton's old partner.
Riddle.
Well,
No, he just got out of rehab.
In rehab. He failed another drug test.
Yeah.
It's a no-no.
Listen, that kid had potential, but like you said, he can't stay off whatever it is.
And he just needs to get out of the limelight altogether because
he posted on his Twitter page today. He's back with his family in Vegas there, and he's out of rehab and everything.
Stop dating porn stars and cheating on your wife with porn stars. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just
he had a problem even before he got into WWE with that.
Right. It's a bad look. It really is. It's not a good look.
There's so much talent in the WWE.
There is.
But we don't get the potential of all the talent.
Correct.
That is what bothers me more than anything, because I want to see a great show. Listen, you love your certain wrestlers.
Sure.
We all Attitude Era, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. We love those guys.
Sure.
We don't have that anymore. Like, you had guys where you be like, man, I gotta tune in to see this guy.
Yeah.
Like, listen, as much as I like Roman Reigns, I enjoy him more then than I do now. Like, don't get me wrong.
I disagree with you on that because hold on. I tune in to see him be an asshole because that's hilarious. Right, because he can cut a promo when it's not scripted. Because when he first came out, he couldn't cut a promo because it was scripted. Now he's just, talking and being natural and being himself, and he's absolutely great as a heel. A lot of people wanted John Cena to turn into a heel because of the kind of reaction that he was getting.
But it wasn't for him.
Right.
It wasn't for him. Listen, John Cena made that company billions of dollars being the superhero for all the little kids.
Yeah, but it gets stagnant after a while, and that's what people were saying about Roman Reigns. He was starting to turn into John Cena with that gimmick.
But see, the thing about that whole John Cena thing is you always have kids. You always want to have kids.
Yes.
Because they were pushing WWE as a family thing.
Sure.
And they needed that guy that was the family guy and that was always willing to push it for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct. I agree. I absolutely agree. Good stuff, Curtis. As always, thanks a lot for that second phone call, my friend. All right.
Yep.
Appreciate
Curtis
you.
is a great guy.
Curtis is. All right. So getting to that 30th anniversary, and we're going to wrap it up because I know you guys, it's been a great show as always here on Turnbuckle Talk. Of course, Raw is next week, the 30th anniversary show, scheduled to take place on January 23rd, next Monday night in Philadelphia. You have Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, The Undertaker are some of the names, but Tatanka is not going to be one of those names. In fact, he took to Twitter to announce that WWE has reached out to him, but he's unable to attend the show because his son's wrestling team will be traveling to the state championship meet. Even though WWE contacted me 5 weeks ago, I will not be attending the 30th anniversary show. Instead, as noted, my son's wrestling team won the regional championship. We're headed out of town to the state championship. No better place I would rather be. Father-son support hashtag. With that being said, are we excited about this 30th anniversary show? Because I kind of feel like the luster with Triple H running it, and I still think he is, but now that storm cloud with Vince supposedly coming back and having some saying creative has kind of killed my mojo, if you will. Are you excited about this show next Monday night, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's kind of a bittersweet thing, but at the same time, you're trying to pick up steam heading into WrestleMania. You got to have your one foot following the other one on this thing. So I think they got to, take this and run with it as we get out of January and head into February. Whether you want to know it or not, I know we're going to have another pay-per-view here. But before that one, and the WrestleMania, you need to get this thing going. And we don't even know who the hell is going to be headlining that main event on that Sunday show for WrestleMania. speculation, has gone from The Rock to Reigns. I think that's the best thing to really catapult Hollywood. But a lot of people think it could be Rhodes and Reigns, which I'm not a big fan of. But
well, you got 2 championships, so you can do it on nights. But do you do that to Roman Reigns? I mean, don't you put Reigns over The Rock, or once again, is the plan, in your opinion here, Mark and Ralph, you could comment.
Well, here's what I heard.
Okay.
I heard it's going to be The Rock and Reigns, and then they're going to have Cody Rhodes. It's supposed to be going up against Seth Rollins for the WWE title. Supposedly, they're going to have a tournament on Raw. Whoever wins the tournament on Raw and the Royal Rumble winner are going to go up against each other. That's how that's going to happen at WrestleMania.
Wow.
For the WWE title, because they're putting the WWE title and the Raw tag team belts back to Raw. That's where they're going to split them up again, the championships.
See,
the Usos will keep the SmackDown tag team chip belts. Reigns will be on with the Universal title. He'll be on SmackDown, and Raw's going to have their own belt again, their own championship. It's going to be, the WWE title and the Raw belts.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't like the brand extension at all. I think they should do away with it. But it is what it is.
But that's what their plan is.
Right. So how do we feel? I mean, Royal Rumble, is that one of your favorite pay-per-views of all time, Mark?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, it's right up there with Survivor Series. I like it. And, I can't wait for the women to get on at it. I'd like to see the last 2 participants with the women. Scarlett versus Charlotte Flair, man. Throw everybody else out of the building, man. Just give me Scarlett and Charlotte Flair, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't
tell
think
you one thing. Another person you can throw in that ring too would be Sasha Banks. That Boston.
She's not there anymore. She's not there.
She's gone.
Yeah, I know. We can all dream.
Yeah, well, that dream is dead, my friend. She's going to be in AEW here in the next couple of weeks. I mean, Ralph, what do you think about Royal Rumble?
Oh, I think Molly Holly's going to win the women's Royal Rumble, and then I think Brock Lesnar's going to win the men's Royal Rumble. So.
Oh my God! All right, so enough of you.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I know you are. All right,
but it should be okay. I mean, you got Reigns versus Kevin Owens, and then you have that darkness match, Bray Wyatt and LA Knight.
What the heck?
Oh, that's going to be.
What is that? I'm curious to see who, once again, Uncle Howdy.
I didn't know what a House of Horrors match was when Bray Wyatt fought Randy Orton in that House of Horrors match. I didn't know what that was either.
I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. Let's go out to Eric. Eric, welcome to the Evolution. You're on Turnbuckle Talk with yours truly.
How you doing, Eric?
The Madman, Mark Mancini, and, of course, the bodyguard of the bird, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Ralph Williams. What do you have to say?
I'm just still trying to get over the loss on Monday night.
All right. So you okay? You're pepped up here? We're talking wrestling. You want to talk Bucs? You want to shift gears? All right. Go ahead.
I'm a big wrestling fan. I think Cody Rhodes on the men's side.
Okay.
And
on the women's side, because we didn't talk about the women's side. Rhea Ripley.
Let's go Trish Stratus.
Wow, Trish
for a comeback.
Wow, Trish Stratus.
There you go. I said Molly Holly.
Yeah, Molly Holly, Ralph. Get out of here.
Shut up.
Trish Stratus. I haven't heard that name, but there's a possibility.
Or Randy Orton.
Randy Orton on the men's side. Yeah, that's been talked about too. Seth Rollins, possibly. Yeah.
Poor Eric, man. Now he's suffering. He's going to get ready for Tampa Bay Rays baseball.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting ready for baseball here in a little bit.
Can't watch Bandits football. They're gone.
Yeah,
Bandits football.
All right, Eric, go ahead.
Lightning are going on a run.
Yeah, you got the Lightning.
Hopefully they can get back to the Cup.
Yeah, you still got the Lightning.
Rays, like they can't sign one of these bats. Like, are they? I mean, or maybe they don't fit what the Rays. I mean.
Here, Eric, here's what I think about when the Rays talk about free agency on this show.
This guy sucks.
I mean, it's every year we talk about it. The Rays don't spend any money. They don't go out and get the bat.
The Rays are just a little bit better than the Pirates.
Whoa, come on, Ralph. We got
Easy.
something building in
Easy.
Pittsburgh.
Whoa.
Yeah, man, we got
The
Rich
Pirates
Hill, we got
stink,
McCutcheon,
but the
we got
Rays are
Jimmy
better than the
Joy.
Pirates.
Listen, I think the
They're-
Pirates are getting better. I think the Rays were in the playoffs last year, but they got thoroughly embarrassed. Why, Eric? Because they couldn't score runs, and Eric is looking at the parade, passing the Rays by because they can't sign any bats. Why? Because they want to be cheap. Gotta love it. Rays baseball. Feel it.
You sure they're not owned by Bob Nutting?
Oh man, it's Stu Culverhouse, we call him, aka Stu.
Yeah, Hugh Culverhouse. Yeah,
Yeah,
Merwin.
he's so committed Mets fan. Look that up there, Eric. What else, Eric?
What would you guys give? What chances would you give the Bucs to or Brady to at least play next year? And if so, where?
I still
Las
think
Vegas.
That's what Madman says. Ralph, where do you think Brady plays?
I think Vegas. I agree with Mark.
It doesn't make no, but with Burrow and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, and I mean, I think the Broncos will be better.
You got Kansas City
Baltimore,
there,
I don't
Patrick
know.
Mahomes.
Mahomes.
I mean, it's a young.
But why would he go there? The Raiders will finish maybe second, probably third.
Well, I guess what people envision and see is that Josh McDaniels, and he's familiar with him. They're connecting the dots. They believe that Gronkowski, this was talked about a couple of years ago of happening, and then John Gruden put the kibosh to it because he wanted Derek Carr to stay there. Now Derek Carr's not there, so people are trying to once again connect the dots and say he'll go to Vegas. I think the best situation still is here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This organization has rolled out the red carpet for him. He's close to his kids. If he goes anywhere, it's Miami. I don't see Miami happening. I don't see the Jets happening. I don't see him going back to New England. If he's going to go anywhere, it's either with the Bucs or he retires. But once again, where there's smoke, there's fire, Eric. And all you hear is these rumors. And we had Mitchell Renz on tonight from Chat Sports. Check him out on the Raiders Report, 131,000 following there on YouTube. And he said he feels like he'll go to Vegas. And that's what the talk is. Throughout these last couple of weeks is him reuniting, and it feels so good with Josh McDaniels and the Las Vegas Raiders. So we'll see
how Derek Carr in Tampa. Would that be a fit?
Certainly a possibility. We talked about that tonight, my friend. You got to go and watch the replay. I'll cut some sound up for you and tag you in it, okay?
Okay, all right. You guys did a great job.
Hey, man.
Thank you.
Eric's a great guy.
Thanks, Eric.
Eric, use that second call if you like to, all right? Keep on watching. All right. So there we go. All right. William Regal had some comments here. He said this on the Distraction Pieces podcast with Scrobus Pip. Who the hell is that? Who names themselves Scrobus? Is that supposed to be a joke? Is this right? Scroobius Pip. What kind of name is that?
Oh my.
Okay. I don't know. As you know, I left one company, I'm gone to another. It's like a blink of an eye. I start back with WWE again. It's like nothing has ever happened and nothing has changed in the slightest. It's weird. Anybody that has listened that's young, I know you don't like listening to older people. Make the most out of every second you have on this earth. It really is. You get to a certain age and time goes so quickly and we waste a lot of it. Sometimes you think, I'm going to make the most of it, even trying to make the most of it, and you end up not making as much of it as you can, and it's gone. I just had a wonderful 7 to 8 months with a real good group of my friends, and boom, it's gone in a blink of an eye. I haven't even caught up with any of the stuff we've done because it's just the way it is. He also had this to say. This will be the last thing I'm doing, Regal said of the podcast appearance. If you're into wrestling, it was a bit of convoluted and finished off the way it finished off where I've been in AEW. But again, I'm back with WWE. By the time you hear this, I've had people asking me to do things. There's a lot that happened this year and a lot of things that made me go, I'm quite happy being not in the limelight. I've been for many years. I had my time. I've had a nice little gig with NXT for a long time where I just showed up occasionally. And then in the pandemic, I was used a lot more because we had to go into survival mode. And there were certain characters that changed things a little bit. And I said, don't use me as much. If you don't mind, it should be about the talent, not about me. This interview will be the last thing I'm doing unless WWE asks me to do something as myself. I'm doing nothing else about anything or wrestling for at least a year. I'm happy with that. that was one of the things in the last months of AEW was getting far too much about me. It should have been about the talent I was with, not about me. I'm quite happy being in the background. All it is grief. I've had my run. I couldn't have had a better last 3 months as far as TV and doing that, but it didn't go there with that intention. The intention was to do something different, and it started off the way it did, but I didn't expect it to end up being this thing that it was for the last 7 months, where I just became talent. I went there with a different plan because I was asked to go there to help out in a different capacity, and that never transpired. Okay, I'm done. Your thoughts on these comments? Because William Regal says, I don't want it to be about me, but it was kind of about him and this whole, diatribe I get, explanation. But even he said, my intention in AEW didn't necessarily work out to the way I wanted it to work out. So what do you think of these comments, Mark?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We've got a lot of rain in L.A. the last couple of weeks, and I kind of felt like I lived in Seattle. I kind of thought you were reading his obituary, and I was standing outside the cemetery, and I'm soaked right now.
It was
a towel, man. I'm soaked.
Wow, that was man, that's a burn right there. I mean, I thought he did pretty well with AEW. I thought he did everything he could. He was working with young wrestlers.
He's not a Jim Cornette. He's not a Paul Heyman. In my book, I mean, I was never a big fan of William Regal, even when he was wrestling.
I think he's underrated. I think he's very good in the ring. He's a very good technician. He's good on the mic. I don't know. He got over.
I think between him and Lawler, they were just chasing King Harley Race, if you ask me.
Wow. Well, there you go. Yeah. Good stuff. Ralph, what do you say about William Regal?
Are you soaked too, Ralph?
No. Well, yeah. Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting old when I have to keep using my windshield wipers all the time in my vehicle. But Mark, at least you have your pants up above your ankles, because you have to say you're wearing floods now because you have to wear them like that in the rain.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, we get a lot of people covering puddles on the news out here.
Hey, at least if you need a bath or a shower.
Oh God! All right, so William Regal, you guys, you're good with him being in WWE in a role where he's not a character. I kind of like him as a character, but
I do too. But I think he's got to the point to where I think he needs to. He wants to be content on not being a character and just working behind the scenes. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone does it. He doesn't want to be in the limelight. He's told Tony Khan he didn't want to be involved like that, but Tony Khan insisted on doing it to him anyway. After a while, you get a little tired of some of that, and you just want to work in the back, and that's it. I mean, when they hired back Eric Bischoff, a few years back, they said he didn't do anything but hang around in catering. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with hanging around in catering either,
Well, there kind of is, because that means you're a jabroni at the end of the day. That means you're also mid-card to a guy that's a jobber. But you guys are not
jobber,
You guys are not jobbers on here on the Evolution of Sports Talk.
No, we're not.
I love you, man. I love you, and I love Harry, and I know Harry's getting ready to take that #1 pick and draft another quarterback in Chicago.
Oh, you better stop. You're going to absolutely have that guy having a heart attack or cardiac.
Hey, I heard to bring him back Mitch Trubisky because we're going to cut him for salary cap casualty.
You both right now.
The return of Mitch Trubisky.
Ralph, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Ralph Williams. I have shows on YouTube. You can catch my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Also, I'm on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and I'm also on Wimkin. And my email address is ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. Also, Wrestle Talk Thursday nights on Blog Talk Radio with Mark Mancini and Smoke and Jim Frazier. 347-205-9631. Don't forget to call and listen to the show tomorrow night.
Excellent. Very good there. The bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Ralph Williams. Thanks a lot for your time here.
Thank you.
Good stuff there. Let's go out to you, Madman. Go ahead and promote yourself.
Well, XM 203, Sirius 217, Philadelphia's WWDB AM 860. And next week I sit down with the GM of the Los Angeles Angels, Perry Manassian. So we'll find out what the Angels are doing moving forward.
Good stuff, Madman. Former XPW announcer Mark Mancini, thanks a lot for your time on the Evolution.
I love you, man. I'll see you next Wednesday.
All right, man. Turn up the talk. We'll have at it. Let's read this comment, and then we'll get out of here for the night. Cubs are building something again. That they are. So we will definitely be talking about baseball. I don't know what that shot is, Travis Faley, but it is what it is. We make it happen here. Thanks to all the guests. Miss Kelsey, Nicole Nelson, KNN. Great stuff as always. Mitchell Renz of Chat Sports. JC Allen of Pewter Report. And, of course, the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mark Mancini. We got to fix that shot. We'll get it fixed, I promise. And, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Tune in again. We'll be back here on Friday night for the over-under, getting you ready for divisional playoffs. Yes, the Bucs are not in it, but that doesn't mean we stop here. 3 things on this happy Hump Day edition. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And sports web fans, it's your time. Have a great night.